gather in different locations to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
She's definitely one of the
I've said it before. She is, yeah, to be fair.
Yeah, you don't need to single. You didn't single me out last week.
I did not.
So.
I'll try. Hang on, Ross will just restart.
Yeah,
that.
resetting. Yep, go.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of Eat, Crit and Survive, where a bunch of guys gather in different locations to play some Dungeons and Dragons. And look, it's a girl!
Sorry, Luke, can you point to your top right corner, please, and say that?
Yes. Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of Eat, Crit and Survive, where a bunch of guys gather in different locations to play some Dungeons and Dragons. And look, a girl!
I'm at the top left.
I've got it to my immediate right, as I see it, so...
I've got her underneath you.
You're
Giggity.
one to the side of me, which is great because it's exactly that way, and then you're down there. Dom's underneath me.
Anyway.
Oh.
I'm not complaining.
Hey!
We have to start the episode again for a fifth time.
I don't know. I don't think there's HR for Eat, Crit and Survive, so we don't really need to worry about sexual harassment suits.
Pretty much you'll get a timeshare of me apparently, so do what you want.
Oh! The conversation had off camera, so no one will know what that's about. Also, that's right, I'm just going to point out that was Ross's idea.
Oh, hey! Let's ease the finger pointing around here.
Actually, that's a very good point. Ross, where are you in relation to me on your screen?
I'm directly above you.
That was Ross's idea.
I mean, I'm to the right of you, and don't refer to me by name, just in case.
That was Ross's idea. Oh dear. It's a Friday, and we're a little bit mad. And it's, hey, Connor, we're killing time with Connor.
Hey.
We've been walking through the long grass too long, and wild Connors appeared.
Are you okay, Connor?
Yeah, long day at work, and I got the same thing again tomorrow. But we're good because we're playing D&D.
Woo!
But hey, for me, it's the last word being 27, so I'm okay.
And there's a girl.
Hey!
I haven't been here the last 5 weeks. This is right.
Well, always makes everything better. Anyway, so where we last left off, the party of the Wandering Stars had been attacking Solrisa in an attempt to siege by dropping rocks upon the giant boat that was on top of it. You took out Storm Giant Quintessence and his elemental Myrmidon friends. And at the end of the fight, Cedric heard the immortal words of, "They're here." Moments later, the visionary Admiral Tidal Surge rose up out of the water and started beating the shit out of you. During the fight, Lirelea dropped it to 0 hit points until the crystal within its chest expanded and exploded, releasing the investiture of Bubbles, which caused it to... It does have a different name to it, which is much cooler than investiture of Bubbles, but sod it. Foaming investiture, that was the word. Sounds slightly better, but Bubbles, whatever. And it came back with a vengeance, its mythic traits fully activated. Much more fierce battle consumed as a tidal wave beat the fuck out of most of you. And Leah took a shot. She was not throwing away her shot. And she took that with her crossbows, and actually it wasn't even crossbows, it was drones. Drones took a shot and killed it. It was impressive, which then of course caused everyone to fall to the ship.
My bad.
Which I loved just watching Tom's realization that, this thing's holding us all up. Shit. And then gravity happened. So you impacted into the ship. Mass panic went around, making sure that no one was dead. And then you returned to your ship and flew away somewhere. I don't know where the rock is, by the way. Is that still around, or did it follow you? No, because you went through planes and you rather than fly.
No, we drove it straight there.
No, which means the rock probably followed you.
I'm sure it is.
Rock followed you. Kalatar dropped into the grove with Asher. Had a conversation with Doc Marsar, found somewhere to dock up near the sinkhole. and you proceeded to take a night and level up to 14. So, why are you looking at me like I've just said, like I've just
I'm waiting for it.
killed your mothers?
I'm waiting for it.
So, as morning comes, What would you like to do?
There we go. That's what I was waiting for.
What's you waiting for?
I was waiting for it. I didn't have anything to follow on.
Want to head back towards
Big bubble.
the bubble.
Big bubble.
Sorry, did you say we've had the long rest?
You've had a long rest, yes. So what you are essentially at morning, you have conversations to have to discuss what your plans are going to be, where you're going to go, why you're going to go.
Why not?
I would like to, away from the group, go and check on and see if Odin is okay. Basically, I want to try and pray and see how the current events are affecting the pantheons, the gods at the moment.
Okay. You sort of sit down and you have a. So who are you praying to first? Odin?
Yeah.
Okay, make a religion check.
Pretty far away. Religion. 23.
Okay. You sit down, you pray, you think for moments. The connection that you feel with Odin hasn't waned at all.
Good.
But probably because the worship of Odin doesn't exist on this particular continent.
Yeah.
It is all the Olympic pantheon as opposed to the Asgardians. The other one. Don't remind me. Help. Vanir. That's one. Asgardian and Vanir. Aesir and Vanir pantheon. That is worshipping Jorvik.
Seems fair. Can I try any of the other ones? Although I'm not that heavily connected.
You can try and make a religion check with.
I will try Athena at disadvantage.
Yes.
12.
Okay. Your connection with Athena is nowhere near as strong as your one with Odin. And although you were trying to sort of study Athena before you switched your oath to be particularly to Odin, your connection with her was nowhere near as strong as it was. And if anything, the Odin connection has sort of claimed you, particularly since the deal that you last made. So your connection with any deity is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to see if the current events had affected anything with
That's fair. Not as far as you know.
a lot of my power comes from the gods. So
Yes, exactly.
so I wanted to check.
Unfortunately, for in this particular instance, because it's a different pantheon, it doesn't actually connect you.
Fair.
Right.
Yeah, that was all then for me.
Can anyone remind me, did we try and send a message to Nordak?
Yes, you did. He said he was on his way to you.
And to not move.
Okay. That's probably good.
Is that the time you didn't use the code word?
No, that was the second time I used the word
He
mushroom,
didn't know what.
sent him the
why
message,
saying mushroom.
got confused, and then his response, whilst also being confused, kind of required a follow-up, but I didn't have a spell slot to do the follow-up because I had another message that I had to send because he's a knob.
No, you just said mushroom to him. Very confusing.
I got told it was the code word. I didn't know who else it was relevant to.
That's safe and sorry.
It's basically, yeah, 100%.
I would like to go and find the Dockmaster.
Okay. You go around and you manage to find it relatively easily.
And ask, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wondered what lengths have been reached to guard this place. Have you got some kind of guard set up?
We do. We had some of the guards from Solrisa have taken patrols, but we're mostly hoping for Demeter's protection, the dryads and various other things around. And they're urban fighters, they're not forest.
Right. I might make some forays into the woods, not too far in, but make a few probing journeys, see if just make sure the woods aren't already compromised.
Very well. No objection to any extra assistance if you're good with that sort of terrain.
So yeah, I'm going to probably spend the day, sort of going a mile into the woodland from the tree line.
Okay. Do you tell anyone that you're doing this, or do you just go?
I will tell. I mean, I've just told the dockmaster, but I'll tell.
Yeah, I'm in the party more than
Tell Cedric.
Okay, Cedric, you are aware that Lyra has gone off to the forest to do some patrolling.
Do you want any company?
Not that I wouldn't love some company, but I think I'm going to try and be as stealthy as possible.
Are you implying that I can't be stealthy?
No, you're inferring that.
Okay, see you later.
And yeah, I'll do that for probably most of the day. Just go in and out at various points along the tree line.
Okay, make a perception check. It's just a general thing that you do over the course of the day.
That's a crit, so a 30.
Okay, you see a massive oncoming nothing. There is, apart from the various soldiers that are sort of wandering around, getting very irritated because they keep tripping over various, logs and things that are just. This is not their speed to be patrolling through forest. They've got nowhere really to go. But you do find a few places that you think will be natural choke points if you wanted to set up defences to force people to push through, where the forest is particularly dense either side, and then there's something like a deer trail or a game trail that's come through that could be set up for defence, as well as the main road that comes in if they were to target that way coming from Nixus.
That's very useful. I shall make notes. Make a point to remember those.
Tie forget-me-not in the handkerchief, just so that you remember not to forget those.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else?
I'd like to sort of meet up with the fighters that haven't gone wandering off into the woods.
Yep. Into the woods.
The blimp didn't take any damage, did it?
The woods
Did take a bit of damage, actually.
Can we go repair it?
Yeah, spend some time sitting around the repair it. Make a tinkering check. Sorry, Dan, we'll come back to you.
That's okay.
So remember, you double your proficiency now because the level 14 artificer. 27. Okay. It takes you most of the morning to sort of find your way around one of the various repairs. Mostly physical damage that's happened when the tidal wave hit it. So you're sort of buffing out the dents and making sure that the structural integrity is still there for the metal. The tentacles haven't fallen off, so that's good. So
Don't want them tentacles falling off.
No.
What do we?
don't need this hentai ship going down.
Not shoot.
But you managed to repair the ship.
Yay.
So it's back to its full hit points.
Woo. That's her baby now. Looks like him.
Family, you were going to talk to party.
Sorry.
Whilst Leader is just sort of hammering on bits of metal and interrupting.
So we hope destroyed one of the visionaries for good this time, but destroying the ship and the visionary didn't seem to do anything about the giant bubble of water.
Hmm.
Although, didn't we think that maybe it was just going to slowly recede back again?
I don't know. We could watch it for a little while and see.
Well, surely it would have at least decreased a little bit overnight, if that's the case.
Do you think maybe we should see where it connects to the ocean? If it is shrinking away, the forces will probably try to escape the bubble so they can remain here until, I guess, a new visionary comes. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, you need to make sure that no one is getting out of that bubble.
Do we know that, Luke? Sorry?
Sorry, what was the question?
Do we know if the bubble connects to the ocean? I mean, Solrisa was, I believe.
Yeah, the bubble did overlap with the port and go out into the ocean.
Yeah.
But whether that made any difference whatsoever, you don't know. Whether they were drawing from the ocean and pushing that way, maybe.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's possible they might escape. I mean, I think we need to try and make sure that they don't get out into the open ocean, or otherwise there'll be something we can't track down, I assume.
I'm also still thinking there should be some sort of magic or ritual or artifact, some source of power to brought the water through from the plane of water.
If it's not slowly receding because we killed the big watery thing, then there may be some other source of power that's keeping it here.
I thought it was the ship, but that was only. It seems that was maybe more of a watchtower than a focus of power. So maybe we need to be looking more towards the center of the bubble, which may be somewhere in Solrisa.
Basically, we're going swimming.
Yes.
I will say this: Foundling and Cedric, both of you make nature checks, please. And Kelatar can part of our thing.
I mean, I'm staying quiet because I'm assuming this is going on while I'm praying.
Yeah.
I do have a +11 in it, but
this is not something that you would have any specific knowledge.
Water, yeah, okay.
This is because Foundling is aquatic. Cedric hangs a lot with aquatic beings, and Kelatar's a bard. So. Kelatar? 9. Good. You know nothing, Cedric.
22.
22. Foundling.
I got a natural one out of the way on something pointless.
Okay. So Foundling and Kelatar, you're not really thinking about
What is water?
It's the thing you speak of.
I believe it is H2.
What?
Oh, what is it? Cedric, you know from having spent time with Cellar and the Octoposse,
Yes,
that and Laura now knows who they are.
I know now. I got some backstory.
They do.
Wait, hold on. You mean that, Laura, you didn't go through all of our backlog of episodes on Eat Chris, right? You can find them on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter or.
He has tried. He has really tried.
They're available on SoundCloud for those of the episodes up to episode 45, where they're available in podcast form only, and then video stream available on YouTube on demand.
This is why I'm here, so you get that plug in.
Yeah, that's a good, really good place.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for that. Thanks for the setup, Laura. That was good.
That's just the reason.
Just the reason we were. Okay, bye. So Cedric, from spending time with the Octoposse,
Yes.
you do understand a little bit of how the depths of water do cause problems on humanoid bodies.
Yes.
For creatures that do not.
Can we separate those two? They just.
Unfortunately, not, because it's the same audio pickup, which is
alright.
really problematic.
Luke, you can just employ some teacher tactics and just. What is it? Just
Come on now,
ignore
it's a
carry
very
on or
fun
something.
thing.
Oh wait, Laura's around Luke's.
Yes.
I have only just caught on to this.
It's great because on my screen I've got Matt and Laura either side of me, and it's in the same order as I'm looking at them.
I'm in between all of you, so I can pretend to be in the same room as you will.
Yay! Ross is here.
I just saw the throw over the couch and was like, hang on a minute.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, very nice.
I have to squint a little bit. I've got my glasses on.
I will get to the point of this eventually.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
So you do understand how the depths of water do affect.
Yes.
Don't be fucking dare. Fine. No one hears the law. No one hears the knowledge. That was a 22.
Deep water bad. I've got it. Good. We'll roll with that. No, there's certain animals which it's okay with. Is that what you're getting to?
Basically, swimming at depth, as this might be, and it could be a problem. You don't know what the pressure is going to be like throughout the bubble.
Yes.
If it is, as you suspect, that the pressure will increase as you get deeper into the bowl, the longer that you're swimming, if you don't have the physicality to swim naturally,
Yes.
it will start causing problems and you'll get tired very quickly. The deeper you go, the worse it will get.
Okay.
And for mechanic purposes, for every hour, if you do not have a swim speed but you're swimming underwater, you make a con save or you take points of exhaustion. The deeper you go, the more it counts as more hours that you have swum.
Okay.
So you get progressively more hours that have swum. So if you fail it, there is a certain depth, there's a possibility that you could just die because it will get up to 6 points of exhaustion and just kill you outright.
Okay. So I just had a thought, and if you can't swim very well or be something that can swim, then you might die.
You'll have to
By that I mean it might get your body might not be created to withstand it.
You don't have one.
Foundling, I think you would probably be okay, but maybe not for some others.
And to answer the question that may be coming up, no, freedom of movement does not affect this at all. This is just the force of pressure as you go into deeper and deeper depths. You're trying to hang on the back of the ground and you'll get caught.
Is there like a... I need to look for spell.
So spells like Alter Self and Polymorph that would transform you into creatures or give you things like swim speed would be beneficial in that.
Okay, I've kind of got a question, and
yes.
You can tell me whether Cedric would interpret this or not. Is that implying that if you had a swim speed and then you got really deep, and then you came into your normal form, could you just instant gib basically because of the pressure, or is it more about the time spent in those?
It's time spent swimming up there. So it's basically the deeper you go, you start off swimming through water, then you start swimming through treacle, and then as you get deeper and deeper, you're just basically swimming through jelly.
Yes. Okay.
Ooh, tasty.
It's tasty, but it's fucking hard work. Like anyone who's ever been scuba diving, the lower you get, the harder the more force you get. Which means that when you kick, you just go. Fuck off! You've not been anywhere other than sea level.
No, I don't want to.
As a qualified scuba diver, I am aware of this.
That was Asher. Asher will comment.
Asher can't swim that well. Jesus. Plate mail sinks very well. If you put me at the top of the bubble and I just jump.
You're not swimming. You're not swimming. You're just sinking with style.
Yeah, sinking with style.
How would we know roughly how far from the edge to the center?
When Peloton was last there, it's about a mile.
And yeah, I'll move.
No, it was about 2 miles. Okay. No, it wasn't. No, it was a mile. It was a mile. It was 2 miles in diameter, a mile in radius. Ooh, you stop gifting at each other.
God, help it. I didn't start.
Go to your rooms.
Probably the best thing to do.
Without supper.
This is literally the only way we're going to get through this.
I swear.
I do actually need to just like take a moment.
She's left the room.
That's high. Equins Alive, brought to you by professional D&D players. In that we are professionals, not a D&D.
No, it's the same intro. Bunch of friends and Laura. It's about professional D&D players and Laura.
And the liability.
Wow! I killed the last bad guy, guys!
I thought it was Graffiti. No, Graffiti is generally the liability, but in human world.
Oh, in human world, I'm definitely the liability.
IRL.
No, you just got to look behind Luke's screen. What's he got planned for us?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. God damn it.
Oh, you're such a liability.
Wow!
Just disappointed.
It's just one big piece of paper that just says "Kill Leela." for that burn.
I remember being really disappointed when I looked behind Matt's screen and discovered that there was nothing there.
Yeah,
All of it over on the laptop.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry.
If we're going to try to get into Solrisa and not spend too much time on the way, it would seem a bad idea to try and fight through or whatever forces are inside the bubble. So we should either try to sneak past them, or maybe someone that's good at persuading people to give up secrets could ask the Dark Master if there's some kind of secret passage into the city.
Yes, both of those are options. I can learn or think about learning. No, wait, what's the word I'm after? I can choose? What's a nice way of saying you're going to pick a spell? I can choose to have a polymorph prepared at the beginning of the day, and then we could transform into some animals, preferably octopus.
I think there's two else of you that can cast polymorph.
Say it, sorry?
Two others of you can cast
Yes.
polymorph. One of them is busy gifting, the other one is the
Oh, her. No?
So sorry, I just had flashes to the Pinocchio movie, and I was like, I know how we get in. Whale.
swim
Okay.
inside a whale.
Whale.
Oh yeah, nobody will listen.
You know what? We had stupid stuff.
Would Fee have figured out from like looking around the ship and that whether or not it's able to withstand pressure? You know,
Make an investigation check.
I wasn't sure if it's going to be like in Futurama where it's like, well, the spaceship only handles 0 to 1, not thousands. That is,
Wow.
14.
Okay. The short answer to that is no, because it's not designed to fly through any atmosphere other than normal.
Yeah.
You kind of get the sense that if it was to go underwater, it would leak badly.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because it was built on a plane that does not have an atmosphere at all to deal with.
I can pot water for about, let's see, technically probably about 70 minutes, but that, I mean, it's quite a big bubble. I don't know if we could get to this in and out in that time.
Also, you'll probably have to weigh up the power of your magic versus the power of the magic that's creating that bubble.
That is actually true. That doesn't specify how it handles magical water or any kind of strong currents.
Mm-hmm.
Productive.
Sorry, what? I blame the gifts.
The gifts are just stupid.
Yes. Well, I also blame the fact that one of the main planners has wandered off for the day and has gone to investigate things, which is fair. It's very in character there.
Has has anyone mentioned the alter self spell, or was that just Luke mentioning it?
It was me mentioning it, but yeah.
Okay. Fee's got kind of like a flea. She's got her book in front of her, and she, and I'll come across alter self, and I guess have the realization that scrolls won't work underwater, will they? Wait, magical item, maybe it can get wet.
I mean, they can get wet.
Will they still?
It's not a gremlin. It's not gremlin. You can get it wet.
Yeah. But will the magical?
After midnight. No, don't feed your magical items after midnight.
Yeah, but does the magical ink on it like start running? I mean, it's a magic item, but it's not like an enchanted magic. It is, and it isn't. I don't know. I mean, Fee would understand the mechanics better, but yeah.
You can take a scroll. You can take a magic spell scroll out underwater. It's not going to tear. and quickly gets wet.
There's a spell that can make us all kind of good at being aquatic. However, it only lasts an hour, and it does require you to focus on the spell, so I can't cast it more than once. It would be too much for me to concentrate on. But if we had scrolls, we could all just try using them. I'm not sure how adept everyone here is at magic, but...
I don't think we'll be able to buy any scrolls, Kafina.
I mean, technically we could if we just jump to another continent.
They're all kind of, at war.
Yeah, we can't go to many places for a shopping trip at the moment.
Sorry, I thought it was just thingy. I thought it was just this continent.
It's just Biaros that's being attacked, yes.
Also, is just Leela really just chilled out today? Where's all her hyperactiveness?
No, it's like Leela.
Yeah,
someone hammering real.
I don't even know if I'm in this conversation.
You've been contributing, so yes,
I
you are.
thought you were. I thought you were. Yeah.
She's shouting from the blimp.
No, I'm just like coming
From the blimp.
out again,
Everyone.
back in, come out.
She goes in and out.
You've been having the conversation.
Can you grab a spoon, Laura, and start knocking it on the radiator there so we know what you're doing? Because you are hammering at the moment, and help me.
Yeah, okay.
No, she's just getting
I'm
hammered.
running around just fixing the blimp, but like I'm jumping in kind of every now and then when I hear things.
Sure.
Very in character.
What, Leela or you?
Both.
Both. Just
So
like
does
keyword.
anyone have any ideas on how to breach the bubble without going on a shopping trip? Other than let's just go and
I think
see what happens.
Ask about a secret passage.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Might be worth.
Although a secret passage into what, family?
Somewhere into the city, just so we can travel at maximum speed without worrying about running into enemies.
Okay.
I don't know if there is one, but
No, it's
there are
worth an
lots of
ask
people
if we can. We'd
from
still
the-
have to be underwater though, because it is
yes, but for less time.
less time.
And there are lots
Agreed.
of people from Solrisa here, so if someone persuasive could go around and ask them, they might tell us something.
Yes, if only there was someone who we knew was persuasive. Everyone's looking at Keldar.
I mean, Asher's not exactly shabby in that department.
Don't
I'm
worry,
not shabby, but
I
I'm
can
not a
speak to
bad.
people.
Cedric usually does do pretty well. Luke, would I know from how the ship's ability plane shifting works, and we have to know the location, but last time we were kind of like roughly knew the location, like we'd seen it. Could we basically plane shift right into the middle of the bubble?
You could try.
Oh god.
I mean, if we're trying to travel to the center, if
Make
we
an
can
intelligence check, Kafina, just straight intelligence.
15.
Okay. So, based on your ruminations on whether or not this thing would actually work underwater, and how it would sustain under pressure, that depth that it could potentially be at, a mile deep of water, that thing's going to crumple like a tin can and probably kill you all instantly.
Okay.
So let's not do that.
What idea was that, sorry?
To
Teleport the flint inside the bubble.
Oh, yeah, that thing's like made out of paper mache.
Yeah, this thing that flies, let's see if it's a submarine as well.
I mean, it
Hey.
just needs to get us there in a split second. I mean, if we had actually, hang
We
on.
don't have time to get back out.
Actually, technically, we wouldn't need to do that. I can actually cast plane shift myself. So all we'd need to do is take the blimp to an alternate dimension and then plane shift into the bubble. I'm tapped out after that, though. It's using my max spell slot to pull that off. So
I would also say, just from my knowledge, that if you were to instantly appear a mile beneath the surface of the ocean, you would blow your eardrums and your lungs into a smithereens.
Yes,
Like
good.
the
Good point.
sudden increase of pressure would not fare well on the body.
But
so we need
magic.
dive.
I'm just saying, like the
No,
idea is sound, but
No, it's-
Unfortunately, our bodies probably would not cope with that
Yeah.
instant amount of pressure. That'd be like being hit with a bus,
Yeah.
towing another bus.
So it's traveling slower?
Yes, but you get hit twice.
No, it's 2 buses on a pendulum. It's like a Newton's cradle.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
3 buses in a trench coat.
2 buses in it.
2 buses in a trench coat.
Careful, we're going to give Tom ideas for his one shot and 2 buses in a trench coat.
I've already used the several things in a trench coat idea.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
All right, I picked that up really early.
Oh dear.
Anyway, so yes, so teleportation directly into areas like that might not go well, but also you are aware that, particularly from the tale of when you would know this, because when you took Cedric and you and Leela hijacked the ship to go to Gundamir's house.
Our little road trip.
This is the bubble itself would probably be considered another plane of existence, as it is. So it's a weird crossover blend of the water plane and the material plane at the same time. There's enough of the distinct of the blurred line that you can consider it a different plane of existence. You could plane shift into it without taking the ship and sort of leaving it in the astral sea somewhere.
Can I ask a rules question?
Yes, you may.
Can Windwalk move through water?
I don't think you can.
That's fine.
I looked this up recently, actually. Basically, flying speed isn't anything to do with water. Water is always...
No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's just our bodies are not physical.
I think from all the times that we've had Windwalk from Gundamir, I think I looked it up ages ago. I don't think you can. I think it acts. I think it.
It was a really long shot, but it's just like our physical bodies out there, and we take half damage. So we'll be able to move at like 5 times the speed and take half damage from the pressure.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Actually, again,
and we wouldn't need to breathe.
Yeah, that's fair. It doesn't say actually. Maybe I'm thinking of a different spell, but I felt like it was something like you can turn into gas, but then water's like 1 inch of lead or something like that was the caveat.
I mean, that is how it should work physically. You shouldn't be able to get smoke through water. I mean, it would combine, I guess. But I don't know. There's the other idea, actually. If getting in there is actually really hard, and you got to imagine that the bubble isn't perfectly spherical. It's probably a little more gravity pops it down in the middle. Dropping in is probably the quickest way to get to the middle, right? We just drop ourselves in. We wouldn't have to walk. We could just float down.
To answer your question, Connor, looking at a comparable spell, which is gaseous form, that does specify that the more does say that you assume a gaseous form. The gaseous form spell itself says that the gaseous form can pass through small holes and narrow openings, but it does treat liquids as solids.
Okay, that's fine.
For that purposes, it probably wouldn't.
That's the bit I was
as there's not a rule, and I can only go on what you say. So yeah sure, that makes sense.
Looking at the comparable magic, I would say no.
Yeah, that's fine. Then we should probably just go and yeet ourselves into the ocean. Hope for the best.
Under the sea.
So.
Go on.
So first plan is to see if there's a secret tunnel. Then, if there isn't a secret tunnel, well, either way, we then try to head towards the center, with some of us polymorphed, others of us can just naturally breathe underwater. Is that correct?
Either or, I suppose.
So. And we try to see if there's some kind of headquarters or focus of magical activity or something.
Okay. Do we have a way of finding magical energy, or is it just going to go and we'll deal with that when we get there?
What do you mean in terms of finding magical energy, like detecting magic?
Oh, yeah, that would be one word for it.
Well, 2 words.
Without saying the actual spell, yeah. We would need a way of finding.
I can do it once per day, but I could also if we go tomorrow morning. I mean, I don't know where we're at in the day actually now, but I can prepare the spell.
Okay.
You're probably morning at this point. Still.
That would be good, thank you.
Sorry, I'm looking on D&D Beyond. Does anyone know what the CR limit is for polymorph?
Your level.
Oh, our level. Okay.
I think you said that in the spell. Oh, look at that.
And if I could also take locate object, but then we'd have to know the specific thing that we're looking for. If it is
Yeah,
an
I wouldn't.
object.
I don't think we'd be able to do that because we don't know what it is at all.
Equal
But for the
or less than
next one,
target level. Does he ask the question? Equal or less than the target's level? Or CR if it has one.
so seems like a solid plan. Who do you reckon we should ask for a secret tunnel?
There's so I'm getting this right. This is another plane somehow emerging from that plane into the material plane.
Yes.
Yeah, the water plane is slowly forcing itself into the prime material.
So what's the likelihood of trying to go to the other side and getting in that way?
I would say that going over there may be some very unsavory monsters and bad people.
And it might
Trying
be
to-
even deeper than this side.
Also, we don't know where.
The gate is.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, do you appear kind of in the same point if you?
No, you would be like searching the ocean, I'd assume.
No, that's fine. Just wondering.
Needle.
No, good idea, but I don't know how it would work logistically.
Okay.
So if someone's gonna, I think,
Star?
or one of the guards from there before, maybe there's like
Maybe.
a captain of the guard that's here from Solrisa.
There is, depending on who you want to find.
I would like to try and find some sort of guard, like a guard captain from Solrisa.
Okay, make an investigation check.
I will assist in going.
Oh,
Make another, it with advantage then.
Okay,
Can't do that.
I'm fine, thanks. You're great.
I got 19 or 12 plus
It does go.
That door being shut. Okay.
21.
21.
I'm not proficient in investigation.
Okay, 21. So you go around and have a look. And you manage to find someone who is willing to discuss. It looks like they are a captain. Female water ganassi, whose hair is just sort of constantly floating around the back of her head. Even though she sort of tied it up into a bun, you can just sort of see every so often the tendril just escapes and floats off on its own. May I help you?
Me and my party are looking for ways to infiltrate Solrisa with the least amount of resistance and detection, if possible. We're wondering if you knew of any secret ways into the city.
The only we are aware that there are tunnels that are carved out for use by the Shadow Organization, the Thieves Guild and such, but those are probably washed out by this point. There is the sewers. They do have an exit, though I'm not sure how well they're maintained, that connects to the Caves of Deimos.
Does that mean anything to me?
That does ring a bell, actually, for you and Kalatar. The Caves of Deimos was where you met Bromid.
Yeah.
Bromid and his family.
Yeah, brilliant.
And it was an old sewer system that sort of let out somewhere. There are a couple of places that you didn't explore down that way. Arguably, you could go that way. That is a very much tidal sewer system. but you could potentially sneak in that way. You've no idea where you'll end up, but
We don't really
And
know
they
what's going anyway, mate. So.
all right, mate.
And she also said that
It's gone very cockney, yeah.
I live in London now.
Yeah, but not in the East
they
End.
also said that the shadow
Yeah.
tunnels are washed out.
That's what she
Does that
said.
mean? Does that mean
Potentially.
collapsed?
They don't know, because no one really maintains them. Like most of the actual tunnels, the sewer system that we use is connected to the ocean on our end, and it sort of washes out to the sea. Whereas the old one with Caves of Deimos, that we don't really go that far down. You could have a look and see if you're looking for a way, and it might work. You might need to clear some rubble out of the way.
That would be an easy task for us. But thank you very much for your time.
All right. Anything else you need to know, please let me know.
Will do. And then someone else said they were looking for the Doc Marcel.
You're looking for the Doc Marcel now?
Yes, Kalatar is.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, I am now, apparently.
Maybe not sleeping check.
I thought it was happening at the same time, and I didn't think it was necessarily wise for Cedric.
Well, technically, it's a 13.
Is it a 1?
Yeah.
Oh.
Takes you about 4 hours of just wandering around.
I keep getting distracted, clearly.
Yeah, there are too many attractive people here. And you do spend quite a lot of time thinking, are they widows? Or widowers? Are their partners still here?
What's an orc to do?
Anything
Or
he can.
who's an orc to do?
Anyone who can. Eventually, you do find the Doc Marcel, mostly because a number of people have been saying, Mummy, there's a creepy orc looking at us. And she wandered over to you.
Kid.
No, I know. There's a creepy orc looking at you, Mummy. Sometimes kids are very honest. The Doc Marcel does come over to you and says, what can I do for you? You have been wandering around staring at people all day.
I've been looking for you, and you're such a difficult person to find. You're clearly very busy. And
I am, yes, but I have to deal with this now, apparently. What do you want?
My friends and I, as that I spoke to you about yesterday,
Yes.
we're looking for some potential tunnels or ways of getting into Solrisa without being detected.
When there's tunnels that were used by the Shadow Organization, they may have been flooded out and collapsed by now, or possibly good for the Caves of Deimos. The sewer systems that Caves of Deimos. Yes.
But
We don't really worry about too much in the ways of secret passageways. We don't really have much concern. I mean, if you want to try the sewers, they're connected because then, technically you'd use the sewers from the ocean on the other side. And go through the docks.
well, that could be a way to go, certainly. Thank you. I apologise for taking some time out of your day to ask such questions.
That's quite right. You could have asked one of the guards. They could have answered exactly the same way.
I'm sure they would, but I felt I wanted to go for a point of seniority.
But as I say, the captain of the guards is more than willing in future for these sorts of logistical questions.
I'll bear it in mind.
Thank you. I need to go and deal with my refugees. Wanders off.
I walk away.
She saunters away.
Fast.
She's a little bit sassy. Stressed, but she's sassy.
Fast.
So I come back and relay that information that
Asher relayed about 2 hours earlier.
Yeah, pretty much.
At this point, Leela has finished preparing the ship, so you have lunchtime. So is there anything else that people wish to do? Any book learning?
I was gonna say, I'll read my book.
Yeah, if we're waiting till the next day so Cedric can think, I'll read some book.
You can read some book.
Plus,
Is
it
it-
also
which
took
one are you reading?
Kalatar 4 hours to find out information. So
Sorry, Russ?
I said also it took Kalatar 4 hours to find out any information, so most of our day's already gone.
I mean, you're at lunchtime now.
Just let me sass.
Oh yeah, no, he's wasted everyone's time, but There are no wrong moves in D&D.
Apart from that one.
Apart from those ones. There's a couple of wrong moves in D&D. Ones that get you PPK, those are wrong moves. So, family's reading book, Cedric's reading book.
Please.
Are you reading your book, Finn? I thought you were going to have a discussion about the use of that with Kalatar.
With what? No.
Okay, I remember you and I had a conversation that you were potentially going to talk to Kalatar about who was using it.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you said I went with him to go ask questions. Sorry.
No. Last I heard about you and that book, you were going to have a discussion with Kalatar.
Yeah. Sorry. I guess he'll be back now, so I'll be like, oh, Kalatar, I found this scroll that you might be interested in, and yeah, it's you can probably guess the scroll of leadership and influence.
I look at it and go, well, I could use it, but if you feel you can get better use out of it, then I'm not going to stand in your way.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I felt bad because I don't think you got anything when we were sorting out the loot from the, void bag. I don't know what it's called.
Loot from a void bag.
That's where it came from.
It wasn't there.
Have you been hit on the head recently?
Yes, that's what
yeah. Hey, that happened shortly after I flew for a day straight. Yeah. Sorry, so you weren't there. Well, I mean, we picked up some treasure, and I thought you might like this.
I mean, I would certainly like it, but again, I'm not the only member of this party, and things can be shared around. Obviously, certain items are better kind of with one person, but other items can be shared, and I've kind of basically called it the ring as that was someone else's and now it's mine.
Yeah.
The ring of Al's wisdom. Indeed. Bloody useful.
Helping you, isn't it?
Sorry, am I misunderstanding this, or is he basically saying thanks but not thanks?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. And she actually, she looked all worried a second ago, but she actually kind of really chirps up because she really wanted it. She just felt guilty for getting two things. And she, I guess, gives you a hug around the thigh.
That's not his thigh.
I'm sure she's not thinking about that right
now. He knows which way Kalatar dresses, so he tells her every morning which way he's dressed.
Please do not make me make a perception check right now. All right, cool.
Your eyesight's not good enough to see something that small.
I wasn't thinking that sense. Right, thank you. Oh, yeah. If that's okay, if we're just hanging out for a day, I wouldn't mind putting some reading into that.
Yeah, you can go another 12, 16 hours into it if you want to be. Unless there's anything else that you want to do. Basically, at this point, you now have half a day left to do things. So
yeah, because I was going to help prepare the ship, but Leela got into that instantly. So
yeah, boy, she loves that shit.
I'll go searching for anything. A hole.
Find a sinkhole.
Not fucking sinkhole.
What are you looking? Are you looking for a person?
A person.
Make a general charisma check. Are you on the pull? Or are you just?
Yeah, I'm just going on the pull. It's like we're kind of chilling here for a day. I've not got a lot to do, so
I'm just gonna go late.
I'm just gonna go late. Charisma checking.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
18. Okay. You spend a few minutes just sort of looking around the party, thinking, could I? Probably not. And then wander off. You go and find. Any particular attention that you're looking for?
No.
Any sort of attention. Any.
Okay. I'm not. As you know, he's not choosing.
Do you know anything you come across? You come across Tarvis High Notes, the jungler that you came across.
Whoa! Back in session 1.
Session 1 that you hooked up with them.
I'll take him.
No, he takes you.
Oh, I forgot him.
Yep. Session 1. We established Kalatar the Flat.
Literally. That is exactly how. Yeah. we had combat, and then everyone was like, "So what are we going to do now?" Oh, I'm off. Bye.
Yeah, you knew you wanted to be there for the next 2 sessions. So yeah, you find Tarvis. He needs a little bit of he needs his spirit raising.
I'll raise something, all right.
Yeah. You raise him up so he can climb mountains, and he does rises to the occasion. It's a good day. Good day for Kalatar. Anyone else want some nookie whilst I'm giving you out, apparently, or?
Asher would like to show the would show the simulacrum scroll.
Yes.
Would anyone like a body double?
Kalatar.
No, he can't fuck himself.
You're a perfect match.
I wasn't saying that.
No.
I'm not saying that. It's just, from Buffy, they had that thing where there's like 2 of them. It's like, yeah, there's 2 of us now. Like,
I mean, 2 Kelisars.
I mean, you could go fuck yourself.
Now you're too busy now. You're too busy.
You're not there.
Go for a 12-hour casting time.
Yeah, exactly. We've got enough time. We've got enough time to do it now and not be penalised for it.
No, Kalatar's been penalised already.
That's penicized.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get off the crotch talk because I think Tom's getting. Tom's face. Oh God! When Tom's face palming, we know we need to move away from Jen.
I mean, I'm really just glad I'm having a nice walk in the woods at the minute.
Yeah. So's Kalatar.
Oh God.
Luckily, with your natural 20, you know where to avoid.
So Liv found a bunch of choke points and the dogging point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, primary awareness is a really versatile skill.
Yeah.
we should totally get to Cedric so we can just see what it's like when they talk to. I mean, I know we've kind of seen it before, but just hello.
They would give us maybe some more spell options, but
you guys do whatever you want to do. Whoever you want to cast them. I mean, other than thinking 2 ashes would be fucking terrifying.
It would be a massive increase to DPS, but I don't feel like we need that. I was thinking more Cedric.
So I mean, if someone like Kafina wants to cast it, or someone cast it while Cedric's reading his book. Just
we would
need someone to sit there for 12 hours casting it.
We could have a Cedric in melee and a Cedric at the back line.
True. I don't mind having another of me.
Someone to talk to.
Also, just would you think that this is the right time to use such an item?
How long does it last?
It's infinite as long as it doesn't
Well,
die.
The creature lasts until it loses its hit points, but the thing with ones that are cast,
It doesn't rest.
it doesn't get the benefit of a long rest. So it has the spell slots, but it has a finite use of them. Mind you, there are certain characters that can learn the Simulacrum spell as one of their 7th level spells.
Why do I feel you're looking at me?
He was looking at you.
Because
You're not imagining it. He was.
He did glance. There was a glance. Side-eyed you.
He looked over the book and the laptop.
actually, no. I might be wrong. Bards might not be able to. But you might be able to in the next edition of Magic Secrets because that is a 14th level, but you're level 12.
Yeah.
I may be completely wrong. It may just be wizards that can cast it.
No, bards can. Because Scanlan did it.
He used a scroll? Oh, he took it as an additional secret. I think, or used a scroll.
Okay, it's not on the bard list. Certainly.
No, I just looked it up. It's wizard only.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kalatar could technically take it at a later point, but he would need level 16 for that. And take 2 more.
We could be very dead by that point.
Are you saying at level 16, Kalatar could effectively, like every day, make a new copy of himself?
If
No,
he's got 12 hours.
No, he can. Well, he can make a new copy, yes, but it means the other one goes away. You can only have one.
Yeah, the other one turns to a slush puppy.
Yes.
Oh.
I was genuinely frightened of what would happen if Kalatar could get an entire band of him and what they would do together.
As long as you've got 12 hours to sit, as well as the material components, which are a lot of ice and some gems.
We've got more than enough of that.
I don't know. It might not be a bad time to do it. But there might
I
be
would
better
like.
times.
Well, you have a bunch of diamond. You don't have powdered. You need powdered ruby worth 1,500 gold.
Asher does have a bag of gems. I'm just not sure.
So, technically, it could be done. It's up to you guys whether or not you want to use that now, or you want to save it for another time.
I just don't think we're going to get another time when we have 12 hours.
Cedric, are you planning on polymorph to get through the...
I was planning on polymorphing someone else and then turning into something for me.
Okay.
Would that something be an octopus?
It would be, yes.
Mila can polymorph now as well.
This is great, Asher, because if Cedric's able to take care of himself and one other person, an extra Cedric means an extra person can be taken care of and polymorphed. So, yeah, that would possibly still leave a couple people, but I mean, as long as we polymorph into something that can maybe be ridden?
Road.
Ridden is the word we're looking for.
Rudin.
The simulacrum doesn't have to follow you around. Like with the concentration spell, it can just stay.
Yeah, it can stay somewhere.
Which might be a better option.
Better. I would like to cast it on Cedric.
Are you spending 12 hours doing it?
I have no problem with spending 12 hours casting on you.
Make a charisma spellcasting ability check, because it is not on your list and it is not a level that you can cast. So technically you've got to make 2 of these.
I can do it.
What's the worst that could happen?
How bad can it be?
Don't say that!
Don't say that.
23 on the first roll.
I missed that.
23 on the first roll.
So you sit down, you start reading the scroll and trying to understand it. And the arcane text makes sense to you. You are able to read this.
Can you stop muttering to yourself, please, Asher? Some of us are trying to read.
I'm concentrating.
Make a second arcana check to see whether or not you can cast.
That is a 20.
Okay. You reach into your soul to find the source of the power that comes from this, and you feel the energy as a sort of latent potential, but you need to get past that barrier and pull it out and bring it into the spell scroll itself. You are able to sit down there and read for 12 hours, by the end of which a fully nude Cedric materializes before you, rising out from the collection of waters. It's like watching, actually, you know what it's like? It's like watching him be 3D printed.
Do you want to build a Cedric?
So there's at least 6 hours where you're just sat there and it's just dong that you're staring at because it's done the waist and then it's just really the torso.
Buffering.
Well, yeah, you've got to get it right.
No, it's just like it gets to a point and then it's just like there's just Cedric crotch whilst they finish off the rest of the torso. I mean, it's going to be worse. You're going to be lying on his back and it just that's the last thing to finish.
I like to think
we all know Cedric's always fully erect.
Yeah.
I like to think that
He's got a mushroom.
Comes back.
Well, yeah, I wondered why you didn't take Polar Master.
Just to see this happens up.
Damn.
He walks back and it's Cedric's ass. And then he wanders round to the front.
Damn. Right, I'm completely confused. What? There's a.
I can't stop concentrating, so
there's 3/4 of Cedric there.
Nice, we're all reading in here, please. Quiet, thank you.
Ash is just making another Cedric. Shh.
Sage whispers, Matthew. You're on audio.
Right. Okay. I will quit.
You just sort of see just someone head poking out the window, just going, round 2.
Is that what happens?
Kalatar punches him in the face. Kalatar has suddenly discovered he's really into BDSM. Just start punching them in the face.
Good.
It's too close to real life for that.
What, just being punched in the face?
Can we return at some point?
Lyra can return at some point, yes. It's sort of the day's getting towards the end, and 3D-printed Cedric is just sort of a head, you see. You know, I can kind of imagine that it's Cedric, because it's Cedric, there's probably just like, instead of, there's just like an anime spore cloud that just surrounds his crotch. But just after a while, just like spore up. Yeah.
A spore of clouds that looks exactly like pixelization.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah. Convenient.
So you special forces. You learned how to have a pixelated penis.
How was your walk, Lyra?
Do I need to be quiet while Asher finishes this?
I suppose, but no one else has been.
I'm just terrified that Cedric's going to get up and walk away at any point.
Okay, see you all later.
It's just a yoink.
I have to admit, thinking, I think going back into the bubble is probably the worst thing we could do.
I really wish that we'd started relatively on time and that came a little bit later in the day, because that'd be a great point to just go, and that's where we take our break. In the meantime, I need to get a drink. Carry on.
Do you think then, what, are we not worried about the forces moving out? Should we just try and stop them from leaving the bubble if it's I mean, we don't even know if it's shrinking, but assuming it is, maybe we just make sure they don't leave it until it's gone?
Okay, the first thing is that the other visionaries will be aware that one of them's gone, and their attention will be focused on Solrisa. Returning to the scene of the crime, as it were, is probably the best way to get found. Then there's just the fact that underwater we are at such a disadvantage. We have to rely on spells and other abilities, and they can just go wrong, they can fail, they have limited time. I think it is very nearly a suicide mission to go back in there.
What do we do about the army, though?
I think we ask someone, talk to Nordak maybe, about setting watchers on Solrisa, and instead focus our attention on one of the other visionaries.
The thing is, we know that the bubble was created by the visionaries being forced or forcing their way into this world and bringing part of the plane with them. If we can't figure out how to stop that plane gateway, they can keep bringing reinforcements through. The bubble is the only place that doesn't have a visionary. If we're going to look for a source of what's keeping the gate open or how it's being made, it seems the best place to look.
My impression is that what the gate, as you call it, the source of the water elemental plane, was the gem within the visionary that we destroyed.
We could spend a little time. We could go to the outside of the bubble and see if it seems to be receding.
I mean, if it is, I would guess that it would recede faster than it was growing.
So there should be a visible shrinkage if we went back tomorrow.
When it was growing, it was pushing out against the present world, and now without the gem there, the material plane reasserting itself harder, I think it will shrink faster than it was growing. It's just a guess, but it's what my intuition's telling me.
I mean, we could just have a quick trip now and have a look.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Are you not finished your
As
spell?
long as our pilots don't mind flying the.
I mean, I could stay here with Cedric. It only needs to be one or maybe two. It's just a scouting mission.
Oh no, you said the words.
We're gonna die now.
That's why I want to stay here.
So Asher's going to be fine, and Cedric's got a backup copy being made.
What could go wrong? Because you know what we are.
Mhm.
You've got Gundamir. You could wind walk it.
If Gundamir is willing to do, we can't assume anymore. We must ask him.
Gundamir actually has spent most of the day sort of wandering around helping people with creative recipes for some of the bland and terrible food that they have.
He's walking around being just an all-round good bloke.
Yeah, it's an intriguing sight to see this sort of 10, 15 foot tall, one-armed genie just wandering around, just going, I can recommend such a tool as this with as the apples, and going around sort of creating baked goods for people and helping people in that way. He also seems to have engaged himself quite well with kitchens and is sort of helping people. It's a good person who's going better. You can go and ask him if you want to see whether or not he will cast his windwalk on you. I believe he has not done so, but I haven't done it for anyone, so.
I can't.
Yeah.
I'll go ask him, and I'll just pop down pack the scroll back away, grab out my broom, and go for a fly.
Cool.
Lost Connor.
No. Didn't even move. Didn't do nothing.
What, me? Nah.
Sounds like Connor.
He'll come back.
So, what is the plan? What are you doing?
Great question.
I don't know. Someone said that we need to go ask Thingy, so I think Fee just went to go do it.
Okay, you want to find Gundamir. Short conversation. He's happy to cast Windwalk upon you. You just need to come to him. He's busy.
I'll return with that information and just let everyone know that he's happy to do it, but we need to go see him. So yeah,
he's reason.
Yeah,
no, you come to me, bitches.
Why not has this work? Now you'll tell me whenever you want. So I'm going to make him come to me, bitches. I would say he's not, but I've only got one because he using to start this pie.
I prefer him when he was enslaved.
Hi.
Pie filling.
Okay, I can.
Fine, you made me.
So wait, we're not waiting until my copy's done. It's just a few of us going.
That seemed to be the idea that Cedric and Axel were going to go.
What's the plan? Just to fly by and see if it's.
Try to get a read on if the bubble's shrinking or not, and then I guess fly back.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've all heard those very specific words of what the plan is.
Mushroom.
Go see if the bubbles shrink, and then coming back. There's no.
So we're gonna
see if it's shrunk,
go
and then go investigate inside the bubble. There's no. We see if it shrinks, and then we hang around while we wait for something bad to happen. It's look and then back.
But we might need to wait to see if the bubble is in fact hanging.
Or we kind of like just don't quite remember how it looked. Or...
I repeat, so we're going to go and blow up the ship.
This is a direct appeal to the audience. Help.
Who started this madness?
What, D&D?
Yeah.
You started this madness of the campaign.
I have no control once I go. I have no control once I just push the button and just go, here's what's happening. Deal with it.
Exactly.
And then we
Yeah,
spend
exactly.
2 hours making plans, and then scrap them, and then we make new plans, and then it's a scouting mission every time, which is actually the real mission in disguise.
Scouting mission just happens to be the combat mission.
Yes.
Right. So, who is going? Who's going to Guntermeer to get Windwalker cast upon? Skeletor. Okay. Family.
Yeah.
Skeletor family. That's it.
That's the scouting party.
I mean, what could go wrong?
I'm assuming Leo will just keep the ship going.
Okay.
Leave the same with the ship. So Lyra, family, and Skeletor. Okay. Great.
What could possibly go wrong?
3 of you go to Guntermeer. Windwalk is cast upon you, and you turn to clouds and fly away.
And that was the end of their chapter.
Yeah. So as we go to a new campaign, you like to roll 4d6. So 3 of you flying up. Flying high, you flying low.
No.
Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low. You're going high, okay. So you fly high and sort of like coast past. You can see some of the things that you pass on the left hand side, but there are still the signs of combat happening. So you'll see the sort of arcane and fiery flashes that occur over towards Namor. Or Namor, sorry. You'll carry on and eventually you reach Solrisa in a couple of hours. Land. Are you transforming back or are you investigating as you are?
I'm doing as I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just staying as I am. Because we just
Three
need to
make-
look.
You make perception checks.
If you can't handle them in their cloud form, you don't deserve them in their solid form.
23.
Lyra, sorry.
26.
Family?
22.
Okay.
I'll be coming.
3 of you looking around.
Sorry.
You can see that there is the things that you sort of used to measure the fact that it was expanding previously was the tide marks that seem to have been growing out on the landscape as it's been going. It does not appear to be retreating or receding. It does appear to still be going, but at a much slower rate. It seems to be the first time that you saw it, it was sort of 5 feet away. Second time, it had accelerated to about 10, 15 feet in the day. And it seems to have continued on until sort of what looks to be yesterday, where it's still accelerating, but at a much slower rate. So it's still continuing to go, but it's going slower.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not there, Asher.
Thanks for
No,
that.
no. I missculpted the penis.
Just the penis.
Thanks to the party then.
So I'm not able to cast sending.
You can't cast spells in this
No,
form.
I didn't think so.
You can't speak in this form.
No, that's fine.
So you fly back, take another hour and a half or so. You return to Solrisa, transform, not Solrisa, Big Grove, and transform to yourselves. By this point, the Cedric double has been finished. So whilst you're flying back, actually, you do complete the spell, and there is now a secondary Cedric that is stood there and goes, "Hello."
This is the best, worst thing I've ever done.
Hello.
Why didn't I do this sooner?
Hello.
Hello, Cedric.
Hello, other Cedric.
Hello, Cedric.
Hello, Asher.
Hello.
Hello.
confusing. Can we give him another name? Just look.
What, Cedric and Cedric too?
No, like very different.
I imagine at the exact same time they both go, I'm Cedric.
I think we both pull up knives and start circling each other.
I don't know, just go.
You're an imposter.
Just go for the next letter in the alphabet. You know, Cedric and Dedrick. Oh, hang on.
Oh wait.
Dedrick. That's not a good omen.
No, it has to be Gedrick, I think. That's the only one that sounds like a name.
No.
Cedric.
We'll call one of them Prime. And then...
Hello, I'm Prime.
No.
Oh, call one
Can I
Seth,
have
the other
some
Vic.
clothes?
I'm not there.
Can I have some clothes, please? Other me.
Yes, I can go get you some.
Can I just borrow the spare set that are in your bag?
Okay.
He's now dressed. He dressed himself. Okay. Could I have one of the octopi, please? I just want it because I have no friends. Apparently, I'm just me.
I'm your friend, and Ash is your friend, and Lear is your friend, and Kalatar and Cruz and Foundling and Leela and Fee. We're all your friends. They might
He
not.
walks over and sort of has a hand extended towards other set.
Say again, you cut out then. Your hand extended where?
Extending his hand towards you.
Take it.
That's it. And then elbow handshake. The secret handshake that you haven't done for so long because you're
very long. Don't know how to handshake.
It's the throwback episode.
Yeah.
Now what? I think I know the spells that you know right now. So it might be helpful if you made a note of the spells that you know now, so that I know what spells I know now.
Oh, it might be better done this tomorrow then. But no, I switched my spells out early in the day, didn't I? Didn't we say we're still in the morning and I picked my spells?
Yeah. What are the spells you have are the spells he has.
Oh boy, he's got a lot of them spells.
But then when Cedric changes his spells on a daily basis, can you
it's locked in at the time of casting. So whatever you know now, I know now, and will only know now. So you basically need to create a duplicate of Cedric on D&D Beyond with your spell list as it is. But you just need to.
There is actually a way of doing that.
There is, yes. You just need the arm or armor.
Yes.
Oh, you mean just make a copy?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally just make a copy and then sort his equipment out later. And obviously half his hit point. Yeah, no, Cedric hasn't got a high hit point maximum anyway. What is your maximum?
Slightly better. That's a great question. I'm just trying to clone my character sheet. 160 something.
Okay, is anyone else getting severe interference today? Because I'm getting quite a bit. It might just be us.
Yeah.
No, it's me as well. Like I keep getting kicked.
No, I'm not getting that.
We just go
from you, Luke. Yeah, every now and then, the last word you'd be like saying hello, how are you? You just like carry a little bit longer.
It just did that to you as well from our perspective. So, okay, I'll try something in the break.
Oh no, it's not 160.
I've got an idea that
130.
Okay, so he's got 65 hit points. I'll try something in the break that might help us. Which will take
Does it kick Matt out?
Yeah. Yes. Out of the.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, now I think
No,
open. We're fine.
I'll go.
So, as you're sort of having the discussion, extra Cedric has appeared. The three that went off on their have returned.
All right, proof back.
What? The bubble's still getting bigger. Not as big as it was, but it's still getting bigger.
Oh,
I think we need to go in and try to figure out why and stop it.
I really wanted Lyra to be right.
So did I.
Yeah.
It would have made our lives easier, but it seems that's not how the world is working.
Okay then. So
Very well. A voice suddenly comes out and he says, "Right, what fine mess you got yourself into right now?" As you turn the familiar visage of Nordak Eversharp walking out towards you. Hammer, marked rules at the ready, and that's where we'll take a break because then we might as well get this all sorted out now and see if we can fix it. And because it's 9:15, so we will come back in 15 minutes, back at 9 o'clock. We will see you very shortly.
okay.
Probably best.
We should.
And we're back. We've just had a very enlightening discussion about walls.
Stuff.
No.
So, as
See what we did through the first half.
Guys, can you not argue over me, please? It's really rude.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't need you shouting at me.
Lovely.
How are you there?
So,
I'm gonna pat you.
as Nordak approaches this bullshit, he looks at you and goes, "Right, so what the fuck's going on?"
Thank God you're here. We need to follow the rules. We've completely lost them.
He looks at the hammer. "You're taking the piss out of my father's hammer."
Probably.
Fair enough. Where are the sensible ones? So I don't have to do this fuckwit.
One's being duplicated. I'm not sure about the rest.
Right, so I'm going to talk to Cedric.
Sure. Okay.
Cedric. Okay.
No. I think the simulacrum should have a chat with Nordak.
Yes.
I'm not the prime here. You should perhaps talk to Cedric. Right, okay. Cedric, do you want to tell me what the fuck's going on?
Yes, you should speak with Cedric.
No, I think you should speak with Cedric.
Connor, what have you done?
Oh God.
I've created art.
I don't care which one of you tells me. I'd quite happily just the one with the axe, because you're the one that's you've got a weapon. Sure, I'll talk to you. What the fuck's going on?
That's a great
Cedric.
question.
The other Cedric reaches over and takes the axe. I don't. Well, I don't know. Do you know Cedric and hands the axe back to you?
Maybe only the people who are holding the axe should be able
Nordak just pushes past the both of you and just goes off looking for Lyra. Right, some form of normalcy and sanity. The fuck is going on? I had a message from Kalatar saying that you're attacking Solrisa. Something along those lines.
And he's talking to Lyra, right?
Yep. Cause fuck dealing with Cedrics.
Tell him to talk to Cedric.
Yes, we launched an attack on Solrisa. In point of fact, we launched an attack on the ship on top of the bubble, on top of Solrisa.
Right.
We killed everything on the ship. Damn near destroyed the ship. But the big giant we thought might be the Visionary was not the Visionary. The Visionary was the giant water serpent thing. So we killed that, and killing it made it angrier, so we had to kill it again, and it very nearly killed us.
Right, that's not a good sign for anyone that's going to fight visionaries and deal with that kind of shit.
We need to make them aware of that. So they have the gems inside them that they used to have, but because their planes are now on this plane, it sort of doesn't matter, but they can be killed now. But when you destroy the gem inside them, that makes them more powerful.
Right, well, that's a problem.
But we did kill it.
So it's not insurmountable. It's just you've got to be aware that it's about to happen.
Yes.
Right.
The problem with Solrisa, this was yesterday we did this.
Yes.
Since then we've been back and the bubble is still growing. It slowed down. It slowed down quite a lot, we think, but it is still growing. And there's still an army inside it.
That was a concern I had. That I'd been watching it at Nexus as they sort of got to the boundary of the city walls, and then the grass and the plants just kept on going. So I think that from what I've understood from your past information, they're trying to get the planes to overlap, which means they're probably heading towards, I'd imagine, somewhere in the middle. Namor, maybe.
Probably the most likely place. And that's where two visionaries attacked at once to begin with.
And that's quite a gravitational force that's trying to pull it in. So if that's where the center point is going to be, if killing them slows them down, that might give us more time to try and figure out how to stop it.
Yeah, but some of the others talking about going into the bubble to try and stop this. I think it's a very bad idea.
You'd be better off leaving that to an aquatic force. I believe that's
aquatic.
Not well. Possibly. I mean, the most likely people to do that would be the Orionids from Solrisa, but we don't know where they are.
There was only one Orionid in Solrisa, wasn't there? I only ever met one. I only ever met Waves.
Yeah, Orionid of the Waves, but he at least might know people. I mean, this sounds racist because it kind of is, but you know, being an aquatic creature, a Triton, he might know other Tritons that he grew up with.
That of course, that's true, and they would have a much better chance than we would. We would be relying. I said to the others, we would be relying on spells and abilities that are limited to keep us safe underwater, and I don't trust them enough.
That's fair. Nexus is fucking ruined. They've taken out a lot of the arcane magic that is in that general area. The connection to Hecate is completely fucked.
Do you know anything about the shrine to Artemis?
No, not really. That's not my my preferred. I'm Athena.
It's I suppose it's nearer Solrisa than it is Nexus, but it's.
We don't know anything about that.
I have to admit, I'm very nervous about attempting anything at Nexus because of my personal history with the Feywild and the people there.
The Feywild's a bit of a tricky bastard.
Oh, it is that.
The only way that you can really deal with that sort of Fey magically is to get an Archfey on your side. But to sort of control the manipulation, I'm not sure how well. I don't know if you know any connections to any. Again, this might be being racist because you're an elf and all that.
Do you happen to know a larger elf?
You happen to know a powerful elf.
I mean, it's a reasonable supposition. I'm not just an elf. I'm an elf from the Feywild.
I wasn't meaning to assume your ears are a bit pointier than the normal elves that you come across.
I'm also about a foot taller than most elves you come across. In this.
To be honest, all you troll folks look about the same height to me.
That's a reasonable.
Just also above me.
Just means, yeah. Anyway,
Can I also have a wide comment on Lyra right now?
Sorry.
The sword that you currently have is your family's sword, right? Or part of your heritage.
yeah,
And it was owned by a powerful being.
yes. I'm. I'll do something in. We'll do something in character. My thought was that the Orionids Hall was one of the invasion points, and I thought that might be a very good place to try and liberate.
Okay.
What the one
Sorry,
at the?
that's what I was saying to Nordak.
You mean the one at the top of Gaia's Desire?
Yes, I know. It's going to be tricky to get there, and very hostile environment. But if we can free it, there should be a lot of capable fighters in that area.
That'd be true. As far as I know, the other Orionic guilds are currently occupied with forces elsewhere, but that one I don't know much about. Though what I do know, they do protect the teleportation circles pretty well. So if you're able to get the teleportation sigil there and teleport there yourselves, you might get a quick entrance in rather than try and climb up the mountains.
The only, I suppose, Orion of the Deep might know it. Don't know if she.
Not familiar with that one, but you can.
She's down in Pariah Deep.
I'm not familiar with Pariah Deep. I've not been there.
It's an interesting place. We'll have to show you sometime. But
No.
You brought up an interesting point about Archfey. Someone else has brought this to my attention before. It might be worth investigating. Do you want to come and talk with all of us rather than just me?
But well, that's debatable whether I want to talk with all of you. But I suppose it's probably best if you're going to make up your plans together.
Well, at the least, you've got the details of what we.
That's fair. I've got I understand what's going on. Right, you might as well gather everyone. You appear to have picked up a goblin at some point.
This is our friend Leela.
Probably just walking past, just carrying a lot of tools, a lot of metal.
The drone's helping you.
The drone's just following by, just carrying a load of stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna go and take over the ship a bit more. Could use a bit more work. Great guys, looking good, bro. See you later.
She's a lot. No, she's not a lot because she's quite small.
She's great.
Thank you.
She asks. She asks.
He's a bit encumbered.
Yeah, I'm a bit just like, you can't actually see like her. You can just hear her because she's just carrying so much.
She asks a lot of questions, which is the beginning of wisdom. If only she's learned to be quiet and listen to some answers.
Hey, anyway, should we have discussions about what you're going to do next? Because that would be mighty useful. As far as I'm aware, last I heard from the Legion, they were attacking Abelos, and it was not going well.
Should we maybe go there to help them out?
I think they're planning a retreat. They're trying to do a bit of a scout and see if they can find their way through the tunnels. Sounds like there's something else that snuck through whilst the visionary came in.
Oh no!
Portals to the abyss are such a good idea at the best of times.
I've got yeah.
Lyra and Galatar, both of you make history checks.
It's going to be a Balrog.
No, Ralakor switched to the.
History?
Yes.
19.
Or Arcana, whichever you prefer.
19 with history.
Fair.
Sorry, my character sheet's waking back up. Did you say history or arcana?
History or Arcana, yes.
Either plus 12 or a plus 4.
Wow.
25.
Damn.
Okay. Through the two of you sort of thinking about this for a moment, you are aware that Zuktamoy, who you sort of figured out is the visionary that is taking over that one, her layer of the abyss is shared. It's on a palace in Shadalka, and it is shared by, you would know this, Lyra, because 25. It is shared by an entity known as the Faceless Lord and the Oozing Hunger. So it's entirely possible that when the spell was cast, both of them were dragged through.
Oh, lovely.
As part of the slime pit, that layer of the abyss.
Do I have any idea what their sort of interaction between themselves might be? Interestingly, the reason my score was so high is because my shiny new short sword gives me Arcana. So I'm choosing to believe that actually the sword is telling me this stuff.
Whispering this in your ear. No, the two of them don't really interact. Because the one is mushrooms, one is oozes. And the two sort of keep themselves separate. Because otherwise one can't grow without the other. Or one can't grow with the other. So they sort of keep themselves to themselves. But it is terrifying prospect that two creatures have of that power have come across. Was that what you were thinking it was?
No, I'm thinking of something completely different based on a discussion you and I had about 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Completely different creature.
Completely different creature. No, that one's worse.
Sorry?
I was just going to say, Nordak, what do you think might be our best option at this point?
I mean, it depends on what the aim is. Nexus is pretty much fucked. And the only way you're going to deal with that one is if you get his archphase back into... the possibility that you cross over and then it gets significantly worse is not great with the sort of wishy-washy time magic that is there.
Indeed.
The ever-moving boulder that has crushed right the way through South Peak.
So that's half a mountain.
It's the other side of the continent from here. There are no good options, because if you go and try and fight the Iranians, you're just as likely to get thrown off the fucking cliff. Unless you can fly, and you've got some capabilities to fly around, and at which point the rock just sort of wanders past, just sort of looking for some food. So, I mean, that might... terrifying prospect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did your mic just disconnect and reconnect?
Yeah, it did, yes.
Okay.
Something moved. Anyway, come on.
Yes, the airship is ours, so
I mean, that might be a possibility that you fly that right into the lightning storm that's going on up there.
what could possibly go wrong with
I mean,
flying a giant thing
A
into a lightning storm?
giant metal blimp.
I mean,
Leela's just walking past and she hears this like, ah! She just grabs the rock and runs away.
leading with a lead.
Yeah, just like, come on. Sorry, guys, sorry.
Dinner time. Catching some fish with your drones. Sorry, what were you going to say?
What the goblin said.
Well, I mean, as my understanding of physics and how lightning works is that if you strike something that is metallic and it's not grounded, then the electricity just kind of passes through and just carries on.
And that's why Laura just got schooled.
Why or how?
Both.
Because planes get hit with lightning all the time.
Mm.
And it doesn't affect them. They've got technically got things that just auto-distribute it.
So does it? Doesn't affect people. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, you're sitting in the plane and all of a sudden.
Yeah.
How the Wi-Fi stays on, it hits it and then it just keeps the battery going for a little bit longer.
The plane acts as a Faraday cage, so
Self-charging.
Okay.
it basically it just like if you get struck with lightning when you're in your car, it just goes around you.
Just like so, Connor's idea with that is like planes are hybrids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just charge on the go.
I mean, that is the idea behind long haul flight. Anyway, never mind. Well, that's the other podcast. Luke
That's
on,
our Thursday night one.
Luke on things. Things he has very limited knowledge about, but we'll try and explain anyway.
So that is not obviously with this airship, we can pretty much get anywhere we like very quickly. So distance is not a problem.
Well, that's good.
It's just
Well,
where the best place for us to go is. Obviously, as you've said, it would be best if an underwater assault with the deck were available to take on Solrisa, thereby not limiting themselves by how much time they can be in there and precious.
why are we sending an aquatic strike team to go and kill all the army that's in there? Out of interest, what's the purpose of this?
Not a clue. It was just something that someone mentioned.
So that the ships can pass by.
Oh, right, reinforcements coming from Jorvik?
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's good to know.
That's
Just
the
to
one.
make sure that
I
they
knew there was a reason.
safely pass.
I knew there was a reason. I just couldn't remember exactly what it was.
Right, fair. Right, well, okay. Well, I can reach out to some of my contacts and see if there's any aquatic. I might see if there's any followers of Poseidon that might be able to help. I'll speak out to the Dodecaheliconiismos, see if they know anyone. Which, by the way, that's a fucking difficult word to say in Scottish, with a Scottish accent. Dodecaheliconiismos, which is the you've come across it very briefly. They are the 12. Basically, it's the religious sector that looks after it, but it's responsible for the 12 major Olympian deities. So there's basically a high priest in each of the deities. Generally, they live in Amor, excuse me. But obviously, there are other members available.
Who's the third person that I cast sending on last week?
It was Chief and Ranvig.
That was it. Okay. It wasn't.
He was
Orion.
equally confused as to why.
Oh yeah, no. But it
No,
wasn't.
it wasn't
to
Orion.
Orion at sea
No,
because no one actually knows where he is.
Nope.
They are.
he is.
He is.
He's a he.
He is a he.
Yeah, he is. He is Ryan. Right. So, dude, you can try and contact him if you want to. You've met him.
I can certainly try.
I mean, if that's the question you're asking, you can reach out.
It's an option that I'm kind of.
Yeah. So Nordak is sort of now looking at you, just going, I can reach out to Poseidon branch the Dodecaheliconiismos, but only so much I can do. You're right, Laura.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Oh.
Gin.
Finger.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
You've got glasses on as well. That's impressive.
Hungover already.
Skill.
Ross, help her out. You're only on the other side of the circle.
Here's some water. So let me just pass that.
Thank you.
So-
Take the bottle, please. Or it's really starting to hurt me.
I can't see as I have my glasses on.
Come on, then.
Great work.
My glasses. I can't see anything without my glasses.
Thanks, Velma.
Whoa.
Where are you?
Oh.
Are you ready? Scooby-Doo style.
doggos.
Carry on.
Yeah, please, let's carry on. So yes, what is the plan? Lordak is sort of sat there. Trying to figure out what you want to do.
I apologise if you have already said this, Lordak, but do you happen to know where Orion of the Sea might be?
No.
Great.
Well, that would be the case, but I wanted to ask.
I've got no fucking clue. Don't keep track of it. Technically, I'm the highest priest of Athena at the moment, so I kind of have that going on.
I mean, that can kind of take up a lot of your time.
It's a mild inconvenience, I've got to put it to you.
Particularly if someone decides to send you a message starting with the word mushroom.
That did not help.
Believe me, it confused me as much as it did you.
I'm assuming that you're using a code word so that you know that it's you that's making the communication.
Yeah, pretty much. Only you weren't the first person that I sent a message to, and I forgot to use the word mushroom.
Right. All right. So fair enough. If you meet with me next time, I'll know that you use the word mushroom to speak. Fine. Whatever.
I mean, probably by that point I'll have forgotten that we were using a code word like I did, this last time. So
what are you fucking doing right now, to be honest? Because it's been a long day. Wow.
We just back up the storm, the Legion of Storms.
That was a suggestion.
Well, Nordak did say that they were looking at potentially retreating. So if we get there and they are retreating, we may kind of get in the way.
Plus,
Or we could be
only two
providing.
powerful entities there. Maybe we should focus on just
Wait, what?
individuals for now.
Connor started saying something, but he's off camera, so no one knew. Was that Connor?
Yeah, no. I just Dom was speaking, so I decided to shut up. I'm here. Yeah, I'm relaxing. If they are also retreating, we might be needed for aid for them more than anything if they're hurt.
We could at least help them retreat by popping in and popping out.
I mean, it's certainly could be a worthwhile exercise.
I mean, it depends on where you're popping into, because as far as I understand it, if that ship that's your transport, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
As far as I understand it, they're in the catacombs underneath Avalos.
That won't help.
Plus, I'm afraid the blimp is great, but it's
Very obvious.
He's not inconspicuous, I've got to say.
Leela's just on top and she waves.
That's kind of my point.
What, a goblin atop a giant spaceship is a bit inconspicuous?
It's more the tentacles off the front of it. To be honest. If you rip this off an elephant or something.
No, we didn't rip it, we nicked it.
Well, that's all right then.
I mean, we did have a fight with some illithid, which we probably could have avoided, but after we defeated them, we thought it could be useful. It did bring a giant worm with us, but who knows where that is?
And it has been useful.
It has been useful. It gets us places very quickly. And it helped destroy the ship that we were talking about earlier.
Correct. Fair enough. Well, then, seriously, where the fuck are you going? I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
What location would be benefit?
So was that Luke or was that Norton?
Yeah.
I'll ignore that more than anything else. I'm fine. I can keep going. What's that, Jarvis?
Fee's going to ask, what location would benefit the most from having 8 large rocks dropped on it?
Tricky question.
It depends on where you're dropping the rocks.
That's why I'm asking.
Realistically, nobody's going to do particularly well from you dropping rocks on it. I wouldn't recommend doing it in Avalos or in the Grove or here. I wouldn't do it here at all.
I mean, we did it on the ship and it worked well, but I agree. It may not be a suitable solution for all problems.
At this point, you're probably more likely to do damage to anything that's around that's still standing. Gravity's a bitch.
You're not wrong there. We found that out to our cost.
Hey.
You got to be careful though. You've just called gravity a bitch, so Kelatar might try and sleep with it. I'm sorry.
That sounds very derogative to anything that Kelatar's ever been with.
I know, right?
So in fact, anyone, I should say. I mean, it may be true. I don't know what your relationship status is like, but
it's complicated.
That's fair.
Relationships are for other people, not for me. I'm going to.
My wife will be very disappointed to hear that.
What that I don't like relationships.
She's one of these big believers in relationships. You know, like
right.
One person to find another person.
I'm sure.
Not she wants to hook up with you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, don't worry. If that was the case, I'd fucking smash you with my hammer.
I mean, that's fair. I out of.
Let's move on.
Was that an innuendo?
What, smash with a hammer?
Yes.
Out of respect.
Make an insight check.
What's happening?
19.
I am
19. Cedric doesn't know what an innuendo is. So.
I am going to send a message to.
You're trying to remember the names of the Legion again.
It's you picking two bloody names that are so similar.
Bella?
Bella and Ella.
Yeah, exactly. I can never remember which one's which.
Well, you could have just gone with like Utar, who's like the half orc that you know. But you know,
Oh yeah, because that could help.
Utar, you know, the guy whose face went through yours was the last thing that went through your mind when you got blown up. It's just him.
No, I was in front of him.
Oh, that's right. You were the last thing that went through his
I
mind.
went through his mind.
Yeah, this was back when Tom blew up a boat
On a scouting mission.
Oh,
Okay.
just went new.
No, I'm going to send a message to Bella.
Okay.
That starts with the word mushroom.
Okay, so that's one word.
And it will simply be mushroom, just checking where in Abelos you are thinking about offering our aid.
The moment it comes back and says, appreciate the code word this time. We have a slight situation. We are just trying to escape. Speak later.
Okay, so that didn't entirely help.
Ghosted.
Yeah.
Okay, so
TLDR. Nope.
okay, the Legion are in a bit of a problem, but I don't know where because I wasn't told.
So we probably can't help them. And
Without an exact location, no.
so Solrisa's out. Nexus we can't do much about.
Abelos, our friends are in the middle of. So really, we've got the lightning storm.
I have one possible alternative.
Please, might help us come to a decision.
Please, for the love of God.
Is that in character or out of?
Both.
Let me talk to the sword.
Any great plan that starts with "let me just talk to my sword."
All for it.
You have got my attention.
Shatterfang turns around and goes, "Man's mine."
Twice now it's been pointed out that one of the ways to help at Nexus might be to find another Archfey to have on our side, and Mithralis is kind of a link to the Feywild. It might know something. This might involve going to, I don't know, it might involve an encounter with my home, which would, I'm not sure how that can go well, let's just say, but the sword might tell me something we don't know already. It's just another option to gain information.
Let's give it a try.
I will find a private corner and sort of meditate with the sword for a while and inquire about phase.
What are you asking?
If it has any advice on combating an encroachment of the Fae into the material plane.
There's a pause from Mithralis. He comes back. Well, there's not a lot I would know about. I mean, I'm just a tool. But I could. It depends. If you wanted to get through and control the manipulation of time, you would be best off seeking one of the Archfey. See. What? No, go on.
I will ask, do I know if there is any arrangement between my liege and an archfey, if there's any sort of existing understanding or link between?
Yes, you would, being trained as you are and raised as you are. Yes, you would be aware that there is a archfey that it's kind of like a feudal lord kind of situation, where there is someone who is an overriding, resides over that particular area. This Fey Lord, for you, you would know them as the Lord of the Hunt. The only thing that you would know them as. They roam quite frequently. So they do occasionally pop in and speak to, they pop in and speak into various points of civilization that prefer to keep themselves. There is a sort of a general overriding connection to the Sealy Court that is sort of does offer protection. So there is a very tenuous link to Oberon and Titania.
The Lord of the Hunt.
Yep.
But presumably I don't know any way of finding him in particular.
No. You wouldn't be particularly sure of it. Make a history check for me. With the sword. I would say with advantage with the sword's help.
Natural 20.
Nice. So, although tracking him, because he's a master of the hunt, he's very difficult to actually physically track himself. You can see that you are aware that the setting of his encampment does have effects on the creatures around. So any game animals are, for some reason, become a lot more plentiful within about 3 miles of where he is camping. And domesticated animals become a bit skittish and fearful and more difficult to handle and may just sort of wander off and run away if left to their own devices. And there is occasion that some of the forested areas or any difficult terrain or natural terrain in those areas around his hunt area or his campsite subtly rearrange themselves to create game trail, which you can then use to sort of eventually you might be able to track it. But these effects do disappear if the Lord of the Hunters come. And he does have, the wild hunt that he leads is, pretty magnificent to come across. From the odd occasion that you have seen a brief part of it that's passed by.
how to find a travelling archfey.
Sorry. No, I know you know what this is.
Well,
I will go and relay this information to the others and say that there is a possibility that this might be an ally. I honestly don't know if they would be or not, but I don't know how we can find them. I do find it interesting that Cedric and I follow a goddess of the hunt, and this is the lord of the hunt. I feel like that can't just be a coincidence, but we're pretty sure that the link to the gods here is weakened. I don't know if we can even get in contact with Artemis, or if she has any sway left. This might be a complete wild goose chase. I don't know, and the only thing I can even think to suggest is having a look to see if the temple of Artemis, the shrine to Artemis, is intact, or if it's been overrun. What does anyone think?
Do you mean the temple to the north of Solrisa? Yes.
Yes, the one very near the abandoned temple to Pan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sounds as good as any. I had an idea though. We were told by Artemis is the hunt, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Artemis goddess of the hunt.
Yeah. We were told by her to try and get more forces. One of the locations probably has a good amount of forces to help us. Maybe. I mean, Luke can probably clarify this because Fee lived there.
Who is this Luke that you're speaking of? Also, for the record, it was Athena, not Artemis.
Yes. Sorry.
Different goddess.
Right. Good. Sorry, Luke.
Yes.
In the contrivance, there's a lot of people that practice a lot of things, but how many of them would I arguably estimate as battle ready?
I mean,
because there's a lot that live there, aren't there? It's quite.
There's a lot of people that live there. There's a lot of people, but there's a lot of crafters and studious peoples. They're not necessarily combatants.
Yeah. Just sorry. I guess that's probably.
I mean, it depends on whether or not they're setting up. Like, it depends on what's being worked on and what still remains. Because there was a massive lava explosion that sort of wiped out a good chunk, but you don't know what actually still stands there.
Yeah, I mean, Fee doesn't even know that lava explosion happened, so she's.
She's been told it by Kalatar.
Really? Oh, okay.
Kalatar explosion. Kalatar, by Asher. Asher explained the dream that happened.
Did you, Asher? I swear that you just did. You did. Oh, okay.
Asher explained the dream, and you got back before Asher did. So Asher did explain what had happened to everyone. I think Connor sort of brushed it off with, I explained the dream to everyone, rather than sort of relaying it.
Scratch that. So, I mean, yeah, we could do that, and then maybe next try whichever location we think there are more people we could save. I mean, if every option's much of the muchness, why don't we see what we'd win most out of every situation if they're all equally difficult? I mean, I don't know. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? Are there places where it'd be useful to liberate, essentially, in order to gain strength for future combats, or?
Literally any of them being liberated adds forces to your side.
And weakens our enemies.
Shall we just roll a die or something?
Please.
We've got a D7. No, it's a BD6 because you've only got 6 places to go to. But it depends on where you're going to, and what you're doing, and what different options you want to have.
Too many.
Open world, bitches, you wanted it.
Too many.
I'm not here to roll with you.
Okay, let's go through each place, then write a pros and a cons list, and then we look and compare.
8 hours later.
And then we build a points-based system where you get certain number of points, and then for certain locations based on certain values and what they contribute.
Can we make it that the points then need to be converted to another number, which is -10 divided by 2?
Or Leela's just going to spin round pointing and be like, that way.
Hopefully half of them are all in that same direction.
Damn it!
Stop giving for a moment.
Right.
Right, well, if no one else is going to say it, I might as well do. Namor's going to be fucked. No matter what happens. There's 2 of them that are attacking there. If we try and attack there, we're going to get shafted.
For the same reason,
Nexus.
Sorry.
Yeah, Avalos is a bit more. Though only one of them is allied with the cult. I don't know whether or not they are opposed to each other because they're on the same plane. They might want to be fighting over dominance. I don't know. That might be an angle that you try and convince one to take over the other. Maybe. But then you still got a demon lord in Avalos, and then you have to backstab, and that'd be a problem. South Peak is being
miles away.
And it's on the other side of the fucking continent.
We've got that, so again.
Contrivance Union in Nistumal. I mean, if you can get there without destroying a lot of things, there's quite a lot of arms and armory that you might be able to get out of there. It might be good for reinforcements. They might have a load of siege weapons. Or at least if there's anyone that's still alive, they might be able to help build some.
So what you're saying is a smash and grab job would be
potentially, I don't know. If you want to look for hunters, then you might go up to, Gaia's Desire and help out there. But I don't know. My thrash metal bands. Whether or not I don't know what the situation is up there. Whether you can get in contact with the other Orion guild that is still standing and see if they can help. Or whether there's a lot of different options, quite frankly, and none of them are great. So it's just basically a case of fire, lightning.
I mean, we are in the wonderful situation where everything is a bit poor, so it's looking for the best worst or the worst best option or the best. Yeah.
Ashka,
Yes.
didn't you say you're into South Peak in the past?
Yes.
So if you're piloting the balloon, we could get there very quickly.
We could get there extremely quickly. I have no problem with going there. I know the place extremely well, even if it is flattened.
I think that may be as much advantage as we're likely to get.
I think it's been decided.
To South Peak.
Yes, that's where everyone wants to go.
Oh, hold on. Right, so you're going to South Peak. Right, so...
But wait, is that the best place to go? Let's be sure.
No, the question I'm asking is, if you're intending to go to South Peak, are you going there to just target the visionary from a distance and then just fuck it up and then get out? Or are you trying to eliminate what's there?
Target the visionary first and then see.
We already know that defeating the visionary doesn't stop the expansion, it merely slows it down. But at least there, we can traverse that plane without being hampered by water.
Or fire, as we would be at the Contrivance Union.
It would just be the elementals we'd be dealing with.
All right. Well, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to see if I can contact some of my contacts in the Poseidon Guild and see if they can send any of the Titan army across or something like that.
Okay. Any disagreements for going to South Peak?
Nope.
Yeah, actually, I think we should. We just
So-
discuss it for a little bit longer. That'd be great.
All right. So, what are you doing now? Are you taking a rest before you travel? Are you traveling there? Are you
Go
resting
now.
on the astral
Let's
plane?
go now.
What time is it?
Now it's probably
Late.
around 8 dusk.
We should wait until morning, because attacking at dark puts a disadvantage.
Yep, I agree.
We take a long rest.
Okay. So any other discussions that you wish to have?
No.
No, damn it, no.
I'll get some more reading in beforehand.
Okay.
Are we going to just keep a distance and fire at it from the ship?
We'll decide that from when we get there.
It's hard. I don't think the Earth plane is likely to have many things that fly, so we could.
But they may have a lot of things that throw things.
So let's maybe not all be in the ship.
Maybe we can find out once we're there and assess the situation.
That's what we've got.
We could go in, have a look, and then go out and make a plan.
A scouting mission.
Yes.
So you take your long rest. Any spells that those that can prepare them can change. If Cedric wishes to change the spells, Kipina, yes.
All of the
Any time
time.
Change the spells again.
for more reading.
If you want to, depends on what time you want to leave.
I mean, we want to leave at dawn, so however much reading I can get in plus a long rest from
This
dusk till
time
dawn.
of year, you could maybe get another hour.
Okay, I won't even bother.
Oh, I will.
Hey,
How much would I have been able to get earlier in the day? Because I went
you weren't doing anything else during the day, so I would say you got 12 hours.
Oh, that's enough to finish off the book.
Was that 12 hours on top of the previous 12 hours? Or was that just 12 hours? I've lost track of time now.
12 hours today. You've got 12 hours today. If you're reading.
Yeah, cool. That's that tone finished.
Is that the bonus to your wisdom, or is that the other one?
That's the other one.
Okay, the key extraction.
Yeah, I finished off the wisdom one before we had the big fight.
Yes. Okay, so long rest is had. Next morning, you set off and head up to your. Gundamir is staying behind. He is staying here. So if you need anything from him, like when you've been casting because this last 8 hours.
I give good mirror hug.
Well, that's very kind of you. Hang on. Is this on? Tell me if you have that. Very, very warm, airy embrace.
High five. High 10. Oh, sorry.
Too soon. Too soon.
Just going to check what spell Gundamir has.
That wasn't in character.
And banishment. Okay. So.
I will quickly say bye to Gunnar. Just take care of yourself, okay?
I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. I'm going to spend some time here. I'm going to help everyone learn how to do some delicious pastries for people. And maybe one of the druids will come back and regrow my arm, possibly. I heard that, Skeletor. I will fuck
That wasn't in character.
No, I fucking heard it. It wasn't character. No, I appreciate that, and thank you for everything you've done for me. Once my home gets rebuilt, maybe you can come visit again. You can, I'll be here for a while. Literally have nowhere else to go. Are you giving any items or anything to Cedric too?
I don't think we have any other. I think we shared all the equipment out, haven't we?
Good one, Ross.
I don't want Cedric to get into panic.
Well, Cedric or Leela, actually. Leela's got a couple of attunement slots available.
I mean, I do actually have +1 armor of fire resistance. I don't know how good that's going to be.
I'll give that to.
I've got adamantine splint, X-ray ring, telekinesis ring.
The X-ray ring is with Leela at the moment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
A wondrous horse. A +2 wonder the war mage.
Amazing. Give it a lick.
+2 wonder the war mage.
Evil Wizard's Robe.
I think there was a greater luckstone.
Kafina's got that.
Right. +2 scale mail. Slate. Is that what Cedric's wearing?
Cedric's wearing it, yes.
Yeah. An iron flask. A deck of many deaths.
I'll take the deck.
This guy's actually going to become the next villain. We realise this.
What, puny Cedric?
Yeah.
I mean, the helm of brilliance is also up for grabs. Would give him a lot of spells.
What have you done with your attunements? You retuned to the shield.
Ooh.
No, Noala has a shield.
Actually,
so what are you tuned to? Shatterfang and
the belt.
The belt. Okay.
I actually have. I have one free.
He should
words.
That last one was really good.
He should take this ring. It's a ring of spell turning. It, as in, like, if someone tries to target him with a single target spell, say like the spells that destroy a simulacrum in one hit, he can reflect them.
I mean,
I will take what is given.
I don't know. I should probably check simulacrum.
Whatever items you wish to give to Sim Cedric, look you guys. All right, so
can he wear splint?
No, metal armor. Druids don't wear metal armor. Definitely, Cedric uses a weapon made of glass, so
I'll sort it out with.
Yeah, we'll roll about it later. And we'll get to it. So, presumably the same 3 pilots, Leela, Kafina, and Asher.
Sure.
All of you make intelligence saving throws.
You've got a tray.
15.
15.
Oh! What did he land on? I was a 16 anyway, it doesn't matter.
Hey. See?
24.
Asher?
15.
Okay, you're fine. So the 3 of you managed to reconnect to it, and what are you doing? You bouncing to the astral plane, then to South Peak, or whereabouts in South Peak are you aiming to go to?
I think the safest place for us to go.
Like
the mountain where you crashed, maybe?
Pardon? Well, the place where I crashed was on the mountain.
Yes.
So I would like to. Now I'm internal monologuing here. Don't do it unless I say go. I'm thinking the place where I landed might also be the main focal point for them entering, if that's where the mountain was animated from. And it rolled into South Peak, so we don't want to go anywhere near there. The platinum mine is out at the ocean and has a barrier, but it wouldn't stop that.
Not that size.
No, it was meant to stop a rowing boat, not a mountain. Yeah, I will go for as high as I can envision over where I crashed originally.
Okay, so you concentrate and you focus on where that was, and the memory of appearing in a snowy mound with searing pain at the back and just looking up into the sky, wondering why and who am I. And there's a blink, and you reappear maybe 300-400 feet above the top of that mountain. The mountain itself is still there, but there is a good humanoid-shaped chunk that has been torn out of the side and just walked off. From the height that you're at, you can't really see anything.
We can bring it to descend and break the cloud line.
Drop down below the cloud line. Is anyone going up top to have a look? Sure.
I will.
Sure. Oh, okay, no.
Family, Kelatar, and Cedric. Three of you make perception checks.
Why did I
I'll
say
have
that?
my shield.
Okay, advantage for Cedric. A tray mat.
Nah.
Carl's wasn't it?
29.
Okay. Kelatar.
Sure. 16.
Okay, family.
15.
Okay. Two of you don't really see anything from this instance.
Right.
Cedric, with your eagle eyes of everything. Yeah. You look out and you can see what used to be the walls, the city limits of South Peak. You can see the exterior walls. They have been completely demolished, as have pretty much every other building in the city. They've been
So
completely
much time.
I will relay everything I see.
You can also see that there are a massive amount of footprints which have walked towards the city, which is a set of massive footprints have walked from the mountain to the city. And you can see sat basically in the middle of the city, legs crossed and just in a sort of meditative stance, a giant earthen humanoid which doesn't seem to be bothered by anything, but this creature is easily hundreds of feet tall.
Should have gone to Solrisa.
Too late now.
But even sat down, they tower at least 100 feet tall.
Does anyone else see the big thing over there?
No.
Now it's been pointed out, you kind of can make out the outline.
Yes.
It's like seeing the statue of Jesus in Rio, but from a distance. It's like, holy fuck.
Whoa, that looks massive just from this distance.
It might be really tiny but close, or it could be really big and far away.
So it's near or far away?
Yes.
Right, that is a lesson I can learn.
Can you tell if it's growing?
Is it getting bigger?
Not in the time that you've observed it.
Oh, I will continue to observe it.
Hey, it does not get any bigger. What you do notice, however, is that the land around basically around where they are, and it has expanded outwards, there is a clear brown boundary that has been ripped and torn up in sort of dragon points that is making its way outwards through the farmland.
Is it like an earthquake almost, sort of like jutting
it's like
out?
Essentially, it's like that. It's not necessarily like an earthquake. It's more like full-on tectonic plates have just sort
Like a fissure.
gone up and just gone, just making their way forward and are just erupting over the top and making their way in a northeasterly direction, which is the direction of Namor.
So that big thing is
Tiny or big thing, we don't know.
the visionary that we want to be aiming for.
I think so.
That would be the one.
Well,
Going to take some putting down.
yeah.
I don't think hitting it with a rock will matter.
No.
What if we hit it with water?
I mean, it might do something.
What if we hit it with as many psychic cannon shots as
That
possible?
might be better. Okay, so we know what we're up against. What's the plan?
Hit it as hard as we can.
As fast as we can.
We don't know anything about its capabilities, so
I can get us pretty close.
How far from the edge of where it's obviously the elemental plane expanding is it to the center where he's sitting? Actually, staying outside of that elemental boundary.
I'm going to say the question on this one. You can't tell from this height.
Okay.
That's due. The distance and proportions are far too complicated to.
He should be constrained inside that area, shouldn't he? Mm-hmm. So theoretically, we could actually fly the ship into a position where we could just keep shooting him and he'd have no way to respond other than lobbing rocks at us, maybe?
So long as there isn't some weird interplanar barrier that stops things between.
And if
it's
there
worth
isn't,
a try.
if there isn't, and he's just throwing rocks at us, I imagine they're going to be fairly large rocks. Because, yeah.
Maybe will be harder for him to even notice or hit if we just go out and walk it, and then we can sneak up to him like tiny ants.
And what? Attack his ankles?
I don't know. I'm smaller than the rest of you. This is incredibly scary.
I can get us pretty much directly underneath it.
I'm not sure we want to be underneath it.
I need for Leela, Kavina, and Asher to make perception checks.
Uh-oh. Oh, hi.
I did, but I'm worried about rolling high. Maybe it's better if I don't see.
You'd rather not know.
Perception.
12.
12, okay.
27.
25.
Okay, so Leela and Asher, you notice this. The ship is slowly being pulled down.
Oh no!
And you're not controlling it to do that. You can feel that something is dragging you to the ground.
Guys, we're losing altitude, only very slightly, but we're going down and none of us are doing this.
Do we want
What
to
if I think up?
You think up, make a wisdom check.
Also, we could potentially just teleport away again.
A wisdom check?
Straight wisdom check.
18.
Okay. You manage to take back control and you start feeling yourself lifting back up again. But you are aware of its trying, there is that force there that is still trying to pull you down to the ground.
Are we best off ditching this, or are you three able to fight it? Whatever the force is.
Don't think we can. I don't think we can manage this.
We should try fire the cannons and then teleport out.
Oh, you say you can't manage this, Lyra, as in you want to leave?
Yes, I think this is too big.
Blimp's acting up here. We don't know what it's going to act up like when we get closer. We either leave the blimp and go another route, or we can't attack something that big without the blimp, realistically.
I don't think we should go in on the ground. There are creatures that can sense tremors and vibrations of footsteps. I wouldn't be surprised if this has that ability, being so connected to the earth.
Are we still descending this entire time this conversation is happening?
No, it actually, the Asher has managed to pull it back
Okay,
up.
so it's just we are maintaining. Okay, I didn't know whether it was back up. I just don't know. Do we think it's because things can't fly around here?
Is it things or just
I feel like this might be about the force that attracts things to the earth. Because I'm pretty sure Lyra's never heard the word gravity. I feel like if I had to guess, I'd say the closer we get to this thing, the stronger me. And in the end, I will be crushed to the earth. I feel like I know there's got to be a way, but from here, with what we have now, I don't think we can face this thing.
I'd say we try standing off as far as we can and firing it with the cannons. If it starts throwing big rocks at us, we can just teleport away.
And then we can go somewhere else if we need to.
What's the rate?
We're nowhere near close enough.
That's up to you, son.
Can I see any birds in the air? Just anything.
Where in like proximity to where you are, or
In vague proximity to where we are, slightly closer maybe to.
Okay. You look around. Doesn't appear to be any you can see. I don't know whether that is because they've all been pulled to the ground, or because they have, when the fucking mountain started walking, they rapidly flew the fuck away.
Is anything else inside the ship being pulled down, or is it just the ship?
Simply the ship itself. Whether it is a gravitational force or just something that is pulling you guys closer.
If it was gravitational, surely all of us inside would be feeling it.
I would like to take a silver piece out of my coin pouch and just drop it and see if it seems to fall faster than usual.
You drop it, seems to go at the normal rate.
But then we're not very close to it. I pick up the silver.
Okay.
Never know where there might be werewolves around.
Exactly. Yes.
Stupid question time.
Go on.
How much rope have we got?
Some. How much rope does everyone have? I assume
50
everyone
feet.
has rope.
50 feet.
Everyone has. Most people have 50 feet of rope.
50 feet.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of like tying it together and seeing if the rope like swings towards this thing or the center?
Not really. I'm thinking about doing something even more stupid than that.
Okay.
Snow speed attacks tactics.
What I want to try and do is to tie all the bits of rope together, anchor it inside the blimp, and then tie the other end round Cruce. And Cruce jump out.
Okay.
Just to see if the same effect is just on the blimp, or
How far away are you? How far away are you guys from the center of town?
I mean, where did we bump into?
Bounced in on top of the mountain. The mountain itself is probably about 3 miles away.
We've barely moved, I think, from that point. So 3 miles away, I think.
I mean, we kind of went up to get kind of away from it first.
Okay.
Leela could send a drone out. Leela could send a drone out. It's got a camera. It can see anything at the bottom.
Camera?
What?
There's a divination sensor on the bottom of it.
The drone.
Yeah.
I could always go down and have a survey of how far above the mountain did we look at.
A couple hundred feet.
I don't know what range it's got on it.
This is time for the internet. Should be in there for the drone.
With D&D Beyond, all of your information at your fingertips.
Not necessarily when it's a custom class that I've had to write in.
I can't remember where it is.
I'll have a look. Let's see if I can find it. Editing drone. Observe it functions as the scrying spell. So, targeting the drone requires concentration, but no focus or casting time. As long as you continue observing the drone, it can move up to a mile away and be controlled from this distance.
That's a mile in feet.
Well, you're currently along the ground 3 miles away from the city.
I'm taking for a mile in feet.
It's 5,260, I think, is the conversion.
Oh, okay.
About 5,000, about 5.5.
5,280 feet.
That was, wasn't
That's
far
not
off.
bad, yeah.
So you're about 5,000. Yeah.
Okay. Fair. No, it's just
You're about 50. You're about 15,000 feet away laterally, and then up probably about 500 feet off the ground.
I mean, it's worth a drop.
Yeah.
The
Just
drone
see
can
if
go
there's
along.
anything down there that seems to be pulling us.
The drone.
I will have to leave the chair then.
Someone wants to anchor into the blimp. Intelligence saving throw.
Cruise will.
Okay, Cruise takes the rein off leader. You can sort of sit down, you have your drone. You send it off and you sort of sit there concentrating. You can now see through the drone. This is a pool with your drone, and you're flying everywhere. It's a very unfocused drone. You sort of like, hi Cedric, hi. Why are you
There's
not
little mountains here, I can't really see it all, but yeah, I'm gonna go down and see if there's anything wild. It's really big, apart from like all the boulders and everything. This is cool. Yeah, cool. So where else are we going? We're gonna go down, go check out everything. What do I see?
flies down and it starts looking at Nicholas.
Oh yeah, got to do that.
Yeah.
No, that's your intelligence modifier. Your perception's pretty good.
Oh, it's plus 12, so 15.
Class thing.
15?
15.
Now what's your modifier?
So you send the drone down, you start seeing where these tectonic ridges are coming through. You can actually see, sort of, you get the first mile in terms of distance and sort of scouting around, having a look. There is obviously the footprints which have led this way. You start coming up to where the earth has been broken, where the plates are going up and there's a lot of creatures seem to come out. And there doesn't appear to be any extra force that is pulling the drone down. Whether that is because the drone is too small to be detected by this big thing, it's like paying attention to a fly, whereas the big fucking blimp, someone's noticed.
Okay. So there's nothing really down there.
At which point, I need for those of you that are piloting, or one of you, in fact, to make a wisdom saving throw.
No.
I can if you want.
I'll say you have advantage because you have got the three of you that are connected to it. Did you roll the intelligence save for Bruce? 14. Yeah, fine. Decent.
31.
Okay. You start to feel something else trying to grab the exterior of the ship. It feels like it's an actual physical hand that has just grabbed onto it. Obviously, there's nothing there when you go and look, but there's nothing. But it feels like there's something that's just grabbed and it's trying to pull it down. But with your pure strength of will, you're going to go, no!
Thank you, Paladin.
Keep it balanced. For the moment, at least. Something is definitely trying to force it down. You've got no idea what.
I think if we're going to tackle this now, we can't do it with the blimp. We have to do it ourselves.
Or we can try and fly the blimp in as quickly as possible and try and just land as close as possible, but the blimp is not going to be any much more use to us.
I don't think we're going to be able to land it, my dear.
Just down.
I think if we get within easy range of whatever this is, it's just going to pull us and we're going to plummet.
Namala says, I mean, Cedric, the separate Cedric and I can take control of it and take it away if you want to do what you did in Solrisa and just go.
We don't know.
As much as I'd hate to retreat right now, I'm not overly. As much as I'd hate to retreat right now, I'm not overly confident going into battle with one person who is not confident in being here.
I mean, that's fair.
That would just lead to catastrophe.
We could try landing outside the city and going in on foot, and if it seems too dangerous, run away.
I'm good.
I'm not above running away.
Tactical retreat.
Make sure we park on the opposite side to where it's expanding so that it doesn't expand over the ship. I mean, I'm driving, so I guess I'm telling myself, but I mean, we're driving. But
It depends on whether you want to leave the ship there or if you want Nuala and extra Cedric to take it away. And just sort of
I mean, Lyra, if not here, where?
I'd say to leave the ship on standby in case we do need to make a fast retreat, because then we just have to make it back to the ship and link out somewhere.
If you all are confident in this, I will follow and I will do my best as always. My issue here is I think this is these are the people we know the least about. And Ashley, you're the only person who knows anything about this place. None of the rest of us have been here, I don't think.
Nope.
We just know so little. And if we're already being affected this far out from the centre, I worry a lot. But I suppose if we're cautious and we proceed with due care, I think we could at least get some good information about what's going on here.
I also don't think any of the other visionaries are going to be much easier. They all seem... This is the second one we've seen where they seem to have some kind of power that expands out around them and makes life harder for us.
Sooner or later, we're going to have to fight it. If it's impossible now, it'll be impossible later. It's not going to make a difference. I mean, I'm scared shitless, but we have to.
It does seem to be just one big thing rather than an army, so at least we don't have to worry about numbers.
I'm sure it'll have an army as well. I doubt this thing is here on its own.
Well, again, if there's an army that proves too much to deal with, we retreat.
Is it possible that the message we've got around that we have this blimp, in which case it might now be a lot more difficult to use it to our advantage? If we're this far out and the blimp is being disrupted, it feels like someone might have known this was going to happen.
Well, they may know that it's going to happen. We are just fighting whatever that being's will is.
We didn't see any sign of a void speaker at the sphere. So it seems quite likely that they may have passed around the information about what happened.
Well, we can always do what we always do. Who wants to go and fight it?
I do, or at least just try and see what happens.
Okay.
It would make a nice trophy. We'd need a really big wall to put the head on.
Now that's the sort of quote I can get behind.
Okay.
Fee?
Yep. I mean, I want to see it gone. The sooner the better. I mean, so I'll do it.
Cedric's?
I'll go wherever you will go.
What he said.
Kalatar, Cruz?
Well, I'm happy to go wherever we want to go. I left this team once. I'm not going to do it again.
What about you, Cruz?
Well, I'm here for the ride. I want to see what happens, so I'm game.
Fulmar just looks up from his position that he's been sat, just with the crossbow, and goes, "You're fucking nuts."
Yes, we are, but fuck it.
Leela, visionary killer herself?
Yeah, why not?
Wow. That's the episode title. Yeah, why not?
Fuck it.
All the planning, and it's just like we're just gonna walk in.
Yeah. So what's happening? Are you landing the blimp outside the city limits and then walking in?
Yeah.
Well,
Try
now-
to find somewhere with a bit of cover to land the blimp. Maybe if there's somewhere nearby.
Okay, Asher, you know the area well enough. You can find somewhere that you can sort of plop it down. Where it's sort of a wooded area that you can sort of put it down and leave it there. All right. So as you bring it down, you begin to mentally prepare yourself for this invasion of the second place that has been taken over by the Visionaries. We shall end it there for this week and pick that up next time.
When 9 people disembark from the blimp, are we technically the Fellowship of the Blimp?
Yes.
With the extra Cedric, there's enough of us.
One does not simply walk into South Peak.
If there's 9 of us and we fly around, can we be called the Flighty 9?
And this is what's going to happen: is people are going to watch us back and then go, "Why didn't they just use the blimp to get in there? Why didn't they just use the blimp?"
No, none of us were the blimp wraiths.
So, in your planning for the attack, why didn't you just use your blimp?
Why didn't you turn into a giant eagle and fly in?
All right. So, thank you very much for watching us. Hopefully you all are okay with all the bullshit that's happened seemingly at the beginning of it. Yes, I'm looking at you two who are in the room with me.
Yeah, you guys in the room
So,
with me.
what are you talking about? And the extra person who's joined us in the room, Cedric. Ross.
It was great to be here. It's quite far to travel, but it was worth the journey. That's what I
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's good to see you, buddy. It's been a while. It's been a long time.
High fives all round. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah, this way somewhere.
All right. So,
Hearing Ross.
Say again, sorry.
It's a shame your arms keep disappearing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's so much better. Like, can't like.
You should see a doctor about that.
My body.
It's a temporal issue around the house that your arms keep disappearing.
I was going to try ask someone to really psych it out, and then I was going to like look like I was getting up and then walking this way, right? And then as I walk off, I was going to get someone to just move like their finger across Matt's camera, so it looks like I'm walking past it.
All right. So, thank you very much for joining us. Take care of yourselves out there, and we will see you next Friday. Thank you very much. Good night.
No, I can't even wave. Bye, everyone.